Chapter 335. Hearing Nangong Maching's words, Jiyu was stunned. He was even a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect Nangong Maching to give such a reply. Especially when she called him husband, it made his scalp tingle. I wish big brother and big sister happiness every day. At this time, the little girl gave Jiyu and Nangong Maching her blessings. Thank you. Since the little girl had put it this way, Jiyu could only thank her. When the little girl heard the other party's voice, she immediately felt that it was familiar. But she couldn't remember it, so she thought it was just her imagination. Then, Nangong Maching chatted with the little girl for a while before saying goodbye to the little girl. Why did you make that kind of joke just now? After walking for a while, Jiyu finally couldn't help but ask, What's wrong? Are you angry? Nangong Maching also asked. Not really. Jiyu was just a little concerned. I wasn't joking just now. Nangong Maching's tone suddenly became more serious. Jiyu's pupils suddenly trembled slightly, and he looked at Nangong Maching in surprise. Then, what's your answer? Seeing Jiyu like this, Nangong Maching continued. At this time, Jiyu really didn't know how to answer. The key was that he couldn't tell whether Nangong Maching was telling the truth or not. If he found out later that he was teased, wouldn't it be very awkward? At this moment, Nangong Maching suddenly changed his tone and teased. Forget it, I won't joke anymore. Sure enough, you're teasing me. Jiyu was speechless. It had even given him a fright. In the end, it was really teasing him. Whether it's teasing or not, who knows? A mysterious smile suddenly appeared on Nangong Maching's face. She lifted her veil slightly and gently bit off a stick of candied fruit. Then, she extended the stick of candied fruit towards Jiyu. Looking at the Tongholu in front of her and that charming smile, Jiyu was slightly stunned. What are you doing? What else can I do? Share it with you. Nangong Maching said. I don't like to eat things that are too sweet. Jiyu refused. This was also why he didn't buy a stick of candied haws just now. Whether it was in his previous life or now, he didn't like to eat things that were too sweet. Do you want me to give you the one in my mouth? It's not that sweet anymore. Nangong Maching's pearly white teeth nibbled on the Tongholu, and the sugar slowly melted in her mouth. The bright red color of the Tongholu made her red lips appear even more alluring. Forget it, I don't eat things that you've eaten before. Jiyu didn't want to be teased by Nangong Maching again, so she deliberately put on a look of disdain. Is that so? All right then. Nangong Maching then put the Tongholu into her mouth. At the same time, there were actually quite a few people around who recognized Nangong Maching's identity. Is that really Nangong Maching? Did I recognize the wrong person? I almost thought that I recognized the wrong person. Why did the usually cold and arrogant Miss Nangong become like this? Who is that guy next to her? Could he really be Miss Nangong's partner? Everyone in the surroundings was taken aback. They had never seen Nangong Maching like this before. They were very concerned about who the white-robed man was, to be able to make the famous ice beauty Nangong Maching become like this. Chapter 336. As Nangong Maching tasted the candied haws, she happily held onto Jiyu's arm as they strolled along the streets. Along the way, they attracted a large wave of resentful gazes. Although Jiyu didn't really care about the gazes of others, she felt that she had been tricked by Nangong Maching, so she was more or less a little unhappy. Let's go there and take a look. Right at this moment, Nangong Maching suddenly pulled Jiyu and made a quick turn, walking into another path. Jiyu didn't utter a single word as she followed Nangong Maching like a puppet. However, in the next moment, a slightly familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of Jiyu's eyes. He took a closer look and was surprised to find that it was Fong Junyi. Jiyu couldn't help but feel a little surprised. She didn't expect to coincidentally run into Fong Junyi on the streets. At the same time, Fong Junyi also saw Jiyu and Nangong Maching. Although Jiyu was currently wearing a white robe and her true appearance couldn't be seen, Fong Junyi had already guessed that this white-robed person could possibly be Jiyu. After all, there weren't many people in the entire Choyang ancient city who could sit next to Manorhead Jiang. Now that she saw the white-robed man and Nangong Maching walking together intimately, Fong Junyi was even more certain of her guess. Previously, she had heard that Bright Moon Ancient City's extremely famous #1 beauty, Nangong Maching, seemed to have a close relationship with Jiyu. However, she didn't know why. The intimate actions of Jiyu and Nangong Maching in front of her gave Fang Junyi an inexplicable feeling in her heart. In any case, she just felt a little uncomfortable. Fang Junyi couldn't help but quicken her pace and unexpectedly blocked in front of Jiyu and Nangong Maching. Her gaze was especially focused on Nangong Maching. With a stranger suddenly blocking in front of her and staring at her, Nangong Maching definitely couldn't ignore it. She also began to size up Fang Junyi in front of her. She just felt that it was a little strange. She clearly didn't know this person, so why did her eyes seem to contain a trace of hostility? Women had always been very sensitive in this aspect. Only Ji didn't see the trace of strangeness in Fang Junyi's eyes. However, he didn't pay attention to it, so he naturally couldn't see it. "May I ask, who are you?" At this moment, Nangong Maching opened her mouth. "My name is Fang Junyi. In the future, I will personally kill Jiyu." Fang Junyi's tone wasn't polite at all. Nangong Maching was silent for a moment before he turned to look at Jiyu. So she's here to look for Jiyu, but thinking about it carefully, that didn't seem right. Since the other party was Jiyu's enemy, why did it seem like she was targeting her? Nangong Maching still felt that this woman in front of her was very strange. Other than that, she didn't have any other thoughts. As for the other party's words of wanting to kill Jiyu with her own hands, Nangong Maching didn't take it to heart. Although her martial cultivation wasn't very high, she could tell that this woman in front of her was at most a 3rd or 4th level defensive profound realm cultivator. This kind of strength was no threat to Jiyu at all. Hearing Fang Junyi's words, Jiyu thought that Fang Junyi had indeed recognized her. When she saw him at the Manners tournament, she knew that Fang Junyi had very likely recognized her. "I understand. Then, Miss Fang, may I ask if you can move aside?" Nangong Maching's expression and tone were as cold as ever. Fang Junyi didn't understand why she had such a strange feeling, so she didn't know what to say to Nangong Maching. She really couldn't think of anything, so her gaze shifted to Jiyu. "I've always had my eyes on your life. Don't lose your mind because of some woman," Fang Junyi said coldly to Jiyu. Hearing this, Jiyu felt that Fang Junyi's words were filled with sarcasm, but didn't seem to be directed at her. Nangong Maching immediately understood that the some woman Fang Junyi was talking about was obviously referring to her. She couldn't help but narrow her eyes, and the gaze she used to look at Fang Junyi gradually sharpened. Chapter 337. After saying those words, Fang Junyi directly walked past Jiyu and the other two. Seeing that the other party had left, Nangong Maching had nothing to say. "What a strange guy." Nangong Maching watched Fang Junyi leave and muttered, "She's just like that. Don't worry too much." Jiyu said, "So, you're quite familiar with that guy?" Hearing Jiyu's words, Nangong Maching suddenly became more concerned. "Sort of." Jiyu nodded slightly. If she had to say, they were quite familiar. As soon as her voice fell, she heard Nangong Maching snort softly. "What's wrong?" Jiyu asked. "Can't you see that I'm jealous?" Nangong Maching muttered in a low voice. "Stop pretending." Jiyu immediately saw through Nangong Maching's act. Who would deliberately say that they were jealous? And with her understanding of Nangong Maching's character, she didn't seem like someone who would say such a thing. Nangong Maching didn't expect to be exposed immediately. He only felt a little embarrassed and was too embarrassed to continue pretending. Since Jiyu didn't follow the normal script, there was nothing she could do. It's about time to go back. At this time, Jiyu was too lazy to continue wandering around and wanted to go back to the city lord's mansion. "Don't be so anxious. Accompany me for a walk," Nangong Maching said. "By the way, didn't you say that there are many good places in the Demon Beast Mountain range? Why don't you take me to have a look now?" "That's too troublesome. I won't accompany you." Jiyu was unwilling and directly refused Nangong Maching. "Okay." Nangong Maching didn't continue to pester her. Ding. Master took a step. Earth rank intermediate profound skill. Lightning flash gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding. Master took a step forward. Earth rank, mid-level profound skill, lightning flash gained experience. 1*999X. Jiyu and Nangong Maching strolled around the streets for a while, before returning to the City Lord's mansion. At this moment, in front of the main gate of the City Lord's mansion, Nangong Maching had already bid farewell to Jiyu and was preparing to take the carriage back to Bright Moon Ancient City. She recalled everything that had happened today, and the corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl into a smile. After that, until Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin finished receiving the inheritance, almost no one came to disturb Jiyu. Jiyu stayed in the room and concentrated on improving her cultivation and cultivating her qi. Ding! Master has activated Sky Splitter. Experience gained from Sky Splitter. 10,000 *999X. Ding! Master has cultivated Xian Qi. Martial cultivation experience gained. 60 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The King rank cultivation method Sky Splitter has successfully broken through to the perfection stage. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the 6th level of the Tongxian stage perfection stage. After a few days, both the cultivation method realm and martial cultivation had broken through. On the second day, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin had just finished receiving the inheritance of their family's cultivation method. Jiyu were out. At night, Jiyu had just finished showering and was wiping her body with a towel when she heard Jiang Yuexin's voice coming from outside the door. Jiang Yuexin pushed open the door without saying a word and did not ask Jiyu first. Fortunately, Jiyu had already put on her pants and was only wiping her upper body naked. "You, why aren't you wearing your clothes properly?" Seeing this, Jiang Yuexin blushed. On the other hand, Jiang Yuechu's expression was calm. She had only seen Jiyu's bare upper body, not that she was completely naked. "You're the one who barged in without permission, and now you're blaming me?" Jiyu said helplessly. "I don't care. It's your fault anyway." Jiang Yuexin threw a tantrum. Yes. Jiyu did not intend to argue with Jiang Yuexin, so she replied perfunctorily. He had just finished wiping his body and put on a clean and simple set of white clothes unhurriedly. "Yuexin, you're still so innocent when you're already engaged to Jiyu. What will you do when you enter the bridal chamber?" At this moment, Jiang Yuechu whispered teasingly into his younger sister's ear. Chapter 338. How could Jiang Yuexin withstand such teasing? Especially when she heard the word consummate, her face instantly turned red. "Let's get down to business." At this time, Jiyu said, "Are you going to stay here or go to the Qinyuan martial house?" Jiang Yuechu gently held Jiyu's hands. "Jiyu, we can do whatever you want, as long as we won't drag you down." At this moment, Jiyu only felt that the softest part of his heart seemed to be touched. Thinking back, it was Jiang Yuexin who had accompanied him through the darkest and darkest period, and Jiang Yuechu had helped him selflessly countless times. Now, although he had become stronger, he seemed to have put an invisible distance between Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin. He was not a person who was good at expressing his feelings. All he could do was to cherish and protect this pair of sisters. In the past, he became strong for revenge. Now, he became strong for protection. At this moment, Jiyu was enlightened, and he recognized himself clearly. He also understood why he was pursuing strength right now. "No, you can go wherever you want. I will protect you." Jiyu's tone suddenly softened. "Okay, Yuexin, and I will listen to you." Jiang Yuechu didn't argue or make trouble. In fact, she didn't want Jiyu to restrain himself for her and her sister. However, she knew Jiyu's character very well and understood that any dispute was meaningless. However, Jiang Yuexin was different. "You just need to take care of yourself. Why do you have to protect us? Are you looking down on me and my sister?" She said unwillingly. What she meant was that she didn't want Jiyu to restrain himself. It was just that the way she expressed it was different from her sister's. Jiyu didn't say anything and smiled silently. From Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, he not only felt pure love, but also pure familial love. At the very least, he wouldn't be at ease until he eliminated all threats to Yu Chu and Uxin. In the end, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin chose to return to the Qianyuan martial house. By staying by the manor head side, Jiyu would not have to worry so much about them. Jiyu also respected Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin's opinions and didn't stubbornly stay by their side. However, his original intention to protect would not change. It was just a change of method. For example, right now, Jiyu is looking for information about the Kanglan Temple of the Evolution Temple, as well as looking for people from the Kanglan Temple. He wanted to find out exactly where in the Kanglan Empire the Kanglan Branch Hall was located. The information about the Azure Water Temple Branch Hall that he saw in the Thousand Treasure Pavilion didn't record the exact location of the Branch Hall. This was because the people of the Evolving Temple seemed to be very extreme. Before he could interrogate them, they had already used all kinds of methods to commit suicide. Therefore, Jiyu could only rely on himself to find out the location of the Azure Water Temple Branch Hall as much as possible. He completely erased Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin's names from the Azure Water Temple's list. That list referred to the so-called bounty list of the Evolving Temple Branch Hall. If anyone from the Evolving Temple could bring back any of the targets on the bounty list, they would receive the corresponding generous rewards. This was what Jiyu learned in the Thousand Treasure Pavilion. If nothing unexpected happened, you should be the first target on the bounty list. However, he didn't care about this. He only wanted to erase Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin's names from the bounty list. Once their names were erased from the bounty list, Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin would no longer be threatened by the Evolving Temple. In the current situation, there was only one choice in front of Jiyu. Find the Azure Water Temple Branch Hall of the Evolving Temple Branch Hall, force his way in, and erase Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin's names from the bounty list. The degree of danger was self-evident. However, Jiyu had to take the initiative. Because those people's whereabouts were too secretive, if he didn't take the initiative, he could only wait for death. King City, Morning Sun Ancient City, Bright Moon Ancient City, and Brilliant Light Ancient City basically couldn't find any more information about the Azure Water Temple Branch Hall. Next, Jiyu planned to move to the other ancient cities. His first stop was Cloud River Ancient City. Chapter 339. He took the spirit ship to Yunchuan Ancient City. Previously, the Heaven Splitter had already broken through to the Perfection Realm, and Jiyu's physique had also advanced to the 7th grade spirit physique. Coupled with the double celestial chi in the high-class room of the spirit ship, Jiyu's cultivation was extremely effective. Ding. Master has cultivated celestial chi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience. 160 by 999 times. Ding. Master has cultivated celestial chi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience. 160 by 999 times. Before the spirit ship arrived at Yunchuan Ancient City, Jiyu's cultivation of LV6 Tongxian Realm was almost saturated. It could be said that he only needed an opportunity to break through to LV7 Tongxian Realm. Once he reached LV7 Tongxian Realm, he would not be afraid of anyone in the Kanglan Empire in a one-on-one situation. Before he knew it, Jiyu had arrived at Yunchuan Ancient City. The guard at the gate of Yunchuan Ancient City were not very strict. He entered the gate very casually and did not encounter any obstacles. Jiyu planned to go straight to the governor's mansion in Yunchuan Ancient City. If he wanted to inquire about important information like the Evolving Temple, he naturally had to go to the biggest power in Yunchuan Ancient City first. The governor's mansion was usually the most powerful power in the ancient city. Jiyu bought a map of Yunchuan Ancient City and walked according to the route shown on the map. However, not long after, he saw a dense crowd in front of him. It was very lively and noisy. With a curious mind, Jiyu walked over to take a look. He found that it was the gate of a mansion, and the sign on the door said Qing Mansion. Then, he roughly understood what was going on through the discussions of the passers-by. The Qing family was a big family in Yunchuan Ancient City, second only to the governor's mansion. Especially this year, The Qing family had a sword Dao genius with a connate sword bone, which quickly overshadowed the governor's mansion. The connate sword bone was also a kind of constitution. People with the connate sword bone would have a much easier time cultivating sword Dao, mastering sword techniques, and comprehending sword intent than ordinary people. Qing Lingyun was the connate sword bone that the Qing family said was rare. He was only 18 years old. Although his cultivation was not high, he had already comprehended 60% of his half-step saber intent. He was expected to comprehend true sword Dao before the age of 20, which was also known as sword Dao true meaning. In the eyes of everyone in Yinchuan ancient city, Qing Lingyun was an out-and-out sword Dao genius. No one dared to question his sword Dao. Today, Qing Lingyun challenged all the martial arts geniuses in Yinchuan ancient city in order to solidify his position as the #1 martial arts genius in Yinchuan ancient city. The location was the martial arts arena of the Qing clan. As long as he was the #1 martial arts prodigy in Yinchuan ancient city, he would be qualified to challenge all the sword Dao prodigies in the Kanglan Empire. All of this was to pave the way for his saber Dao. Today, there were many martial arts geniuses in Yinchuan ancient city who wanted to meet Qing Lingyun. There were also countless passers-by who came to watch. The entire Qing family mansion was bustling with noise and excitement. At this moment, Jiyu followed the crowd into the Qing clan estate. In reality, he was not interested in this kind of thing. However, he wanted to try and see if he could use this opportunity to comprehend sword Dao. His system had infinite possibilities. No matter what he comprehended, Jiyu would not find it strange. If he could really comprehend sword Dao later, there would only be benefits and no harm to him. Why not? Soon, Jiyu followed the crowd to the martial arts arena of the Qing clan estate. In the martial arts arena, two people could be seen sparring. One of them was holding a light blue treasured saber. An overbearing aura was constantly emerging from his body. The other person was barehanded. He was tall and burly. Regardless of whether it was his cultivation aura or physical strength, he was much stronger than his opponent. It was obvious that the person holding the treasured saber was Qing Lingyun, the innate stage sword bone. Suddenly, a system notification rang in Jiyu's head. Ding! Master has taken a look at half-step saber intent. 999 times comprehension ability activated. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You've successfully comprehended 10% of half-step saber intent. Chapter 340. Just as Jiyu had expected, he had really comprehended the half-step sword intent. He continued to watch the battle between the two in the ring to improve his half-step sword intent. Ding! Master has taken a look at the half-step sword intent. Experience gained from 10% half-step sword intent, won by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a look at the half-step sword intent. Experience gained from 10% half-step sword intent, won by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. 10% half-step sword intent has successfully broken through to 20% half-step sword intent. As he watched, Jiyu's sword intent broke through. Jiyu had only used a few minutes to go from not knowing anything about sword Dao to comprehending 20% half-step sword intent. The so-called innate stage sword bone was far inferior to his. It was also at this time that the battle on the ring was decided. Qing Lingyun had narrowly defeated his opponent with his extraordinary sword intent. There was a commotion below the ring. Even Yang Sun has been defeated by Qing Lingyun. Who else in Yinchuan ancient city can be a match for him? It's really terrifying. Qing Lingyun's cultivation is only at the 3rd level of the defensive profound realm, but he relied on his 60% half-step sword intent to defeat Yang Sun, who was at the 5th level of the defensive profound realm. Now the title of the #1 martial arts genius is no longer Yang Sun, but Qing Lingyun. Yang Sun was the original #1 martial arts genius in Yinchuan ancient city. Moreover, Qing Lingyun had already fought several battles with other geniuses. Although he had won quickly, he had expended some energy. In other words, Yang Sun had not faced Qing Lingyun at his peak. Even so, he had still lost to Qing Lingyun. I accept my defeat wholeheartedly. Yang Sun was not the kind of person who could not afford to lose, so he admitted defeat to Qing Lingyun. Qing Lingyun nodded slightly, with a hint of arrogance on his cold face. Regarding this, Yang Sun didn't say anything and silently walked down from the martial arena. Many people around were dissatisfied with Qing Lingyun's attitude. He did not even show the most basic respect. However, they could do nothing but discuss below the ring. Who else? Qing Lingyun coldly glanced around, waiting for the next opponent to come up. However, after a while, none of the young geniuses dared to go up. After all, even Yang Sun had been defeated. They would only be asking for trouble if they went up. Seeing that there was nothing else to do, Ji decided to leave. However, at this moment, Ji felt Qing Lingyun's gaze on her. "You are also a swordsman?" Qing Lingyun stared at the white-robed man in the crowd and asked, "So what if I am?" Ji narrowed her eyes and said indifferently. He did not expect that the other party would actually notice him. Perhaps this was the uniqueness of the innate level blade bone. "Do you dare to fight me?" Qing Lingyun asked. Just as Ji had guessed, Qing Lingyun had indeed sensed that Ji had comprehended half-step blade Dao because of her innate blade bones. "If you insist on being tortured, then I don't have any objections." Ji shrugged helplessly. He was about to leave, but Qing Lingyun insisted on competing with him. All of a sudden, all sorts of discussions broke out around them. "Who is that guy in the white robe? He's so arrogant in front of Qing Lingyun. How dare he say that Qing Lingyun is looking for torture? Judging from his voice, he doesn't sound very old. None of the younger generation in Yinchuan Ancient City is a match for Qing Lingyun. He's just being pretentious. Those who are strong are pretentious, but those who are not are stupid. It's obvious that that guy is the latter." Almost everyone laughed at Ji words. In their opinion, even Yang Sun could not defeat Qing Lingyun. This guy who came from nowhere was just bluffing. What shameless boasting. Qing Lingyun also smiled disdainfully. He could feel that the other party's half-step blade Dao was only at 20%. However, he was about to break through to 70% half-step blade Dao. How dare a mere 20% half-step blade Dao be so presumptuous in front of him? "You'll know whether I'm boasting or not when you try." At that moment, Ji walked to the battle arena with a calm expression. Chapter 341. You make the first move. Qing Lingyun looked at the white-robed youth and said proudly. Ji did not waste time. He waved his right hand, and a scarlet saber appeared in his hand. This was the medium-grade 3 artifact that he had kept in his storage ring, the scarlet saber. Seeing this, Qing Lingyun's expression changed slightly. He could see that the scarlet saber in his opponent's hand was not simple. Qing Lingyun immediately released the aura of the half-step saber intent. The opponent in front of him seemed to be more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. However, in the next moment, the white-robed youth took a step forward and suddenly disappeared. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3000*999x. At this moment, Ji used his movement technique and appeared in front of Qing Lingyun, waving the scarlet saber in his hand. Ding! Master has slashed once. Basic saber technique gained experience. 1/999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Basic saber technique has successfully broken through to lesser mastery. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Basic saber technique has successfully broken through to mastery. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Basic saber technique has successfully broken through to impeccable mastery. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Basic saber technique has successfully broken through to greater mastery. Ding! Basic saber technique has been detected to have reached perfection. Automatically upgraded to inferior yellow rank saber technique, Tempest saber technique. A second ago, Qing Lingyun was still paying attention to the artifact in his opponent's hand. This happened so suddenly that he did not have time to react. Ji waved his saber and cut open a hole in Qing Lingyun's chest. This was after he had suppressed his strength to defensive Mystic Realm level 9 and did not use his half-step saber intent. After all, he had no enmity with Qing Lingyun, so there was no need to kill him. He only needed to teach him a lesson. Even so, Ji Yu's attack was not something that Qing Lingyun could block. Qing Lingyun fell to the ground from the huge impact. He struggled to support himself with both hands as blood flowed from his chest and dripped to the ground. At this moment, the entire crowd was suffocating as if they were dead. Everything happened so quickly that it took the audience a full 3 seconds to realize what had happened. Qing Lingyun, who had the innate level saber bone, had actually been defeated. Furthermore, he was defeated without even being able to withstand a single blow. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. I haven't lost yet. Qing Lingyun forcefully propped herself up with her hands and spoke in an extremely weak voice. Not only him, but his innate level saber bone also did not allow him to admit defeat. You still want to struggle at death's door? Ji looked down at Qing Lingyun coldly. I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't used my saber technique or my half-step saber intent. The second half of the sentence caused Qing Lingyun's mental state to completely collapse. That was right. The other party had only used an extremely ordinary slash, and he was already unable to resist at all. No matter how hard he tried, he would still lose without a doubt. I lost, Qing Lingyun said with difficulty. After that, he couldn't hold on any longer. His entire body went limp as he laid on the ground. Why bother? Ji shook her head slightly. If this fellow had not provoked her, he would not have ended up like this. She could only say that this fellow had brought this upon himself. Lingyun. At this moment, a middle-aged man with bloodshot eyes rushed to the stage like a madman. He hurriedly helped Qing Lingyun up as if to confirm whether Qing Lingyun was still alive or not. He's not dead yet, Ji reminded the middle-aged man calmly, and then turned to leave slowly. You hurt my son, and you still want to leave here? The middle-aged man glared at Ji angrily. It was obvious that he was the head of the Qing family. If your Qing family doesn't want to be annihilated, don't provoke me. Ji turned around and glanced coldly at the middle-aged man. At this moment, the middle-aged man felt as if he was being stared at by a ferocious beast. He could not help but tremble. An intense sense of danger that he had never felt before caused his earlier sharpness to vanish completely. Chapter 342. The middle-aged man didn't dare to make a sound as he watched the murderer of his son slowly leave. At this moment, countless gazes were on Ji. Ji seemed to be strolling in his own backyard, not putting the Qing clan in his eyes at all. When the Qing clan saw that the patriarch didn't move, they didn't dare to act rashly. Before Ji completely left, no one dared to make a sound or move for a few minutes. When Ji's figure completely disappeared, the entire crowd was in an uproar. Not only was Qing Lingyun defeated in one move, even the Qing clan patriarch didn't dare to make a move against the white-robed youth. At this moment, Ji had already left the Qing clan residence. He didn't waste any more time and directly rushed to the city lord's residence. According to the route on the map, Ji would soon reach the city lord's residence in Yunchuan Ancient City. Although the city lord's residence didn't allow outsiders to easily enter, Ji didn't need to care about this. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3,000 by 999 times. Ding! Master has used Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash gained experience. 3,000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The Earth rank mid-level profound skill, Lightning Flash, has successfully broken through to this small success stage. At the same time that the Lightning Flash broke through, Ji entered the City Lord's residence without being discovered by anyone. Next, he tried to use his soul strength to sense the location of the City Lord, Yangwon. Ding! Master has used soul strength. Soul strength gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Now that Ji's soul strength was very strong, he could easily sense that the person with the highest cultivation in the City Lord's residence was Yangwon. Ji immediately went in the direction that he sensed. Soon, he arrived at Yangwon's room. Yangwon, who was dealing with matters, suddenly discovered that an unfamiliar white-robed person had appeared in his room. He instantly became alert. "Who are you?" Yang asked cautiously. To be able to enter the room without him noticing, there was no doubt that the other party's strength was above his. How could he not be careful in the face of such a mysterious expert who appeared out of nowhere? "I'm Ji-yu," Ji-yu said directly. "Ji, City Lord Ji?" Yang was surprised. "You came here from such a faraway place. Is there something important?" Even if Ji-yu did not take off her white robe to reveal her true appearance, he was certain that the person in front of him was Ji-yu. After all, the other party's tone, manner of speech, and strength were all very Ji-yu. "I'm here to get some information from you," Ji-yu said. "Gather information? What is it?" Yang asked. "Information regarding the Kanglin Temple of the Evolution Temple." At this point, Ji-yu's tone became more serious. "Evolving Temple," Yang paused. After a moment of silence, he continued, "I don't have much information regarding the Kanglin Temple of the Evolution Temple. I wonder if I can help City Lord Ji." "It's fine as long as you have it." Then, Ji-yu asked directly, "Tell me what you want." He did not want to ask Yang for information. It would be more straightforward to talk about the conditions directly. "No need, no need. How would I dare to ask for City Lord Ji's conditions?" Yang said politely. "Speaking of which, I can't thank you enough. If it wasn't for you last time, I would still be an evil bastard." Ji-yu thought about it, and roughly understood that Yang was referring to the time when he stopped Yang from getting angry at his daughter. "Then take me to see the information." Ji-yu did not waste any more words. Since the other party did not want any conditions, he felt that there was no need to say anything more. However, at this moment, a voice came from outside the room. "Father, I need some pills to break through." As soon as the voice fell, the door was pushed open at the same time. The person who pushed open the door was Yang Qingxue. Chapter 343. Ji-yu merely glanced at Yang Qingxue, who had just entered the room, and did not say anything. "Who is this?" Yang Qingxue looked at the white-robed man beside her father and couldn't help but ask. "Qingxue, this is City Lord Ji. You should remember him, right?" Seeing his daughter, Yang immediately smiled. "City Lord Ji?" Yang Qingxue immediately thought of the young man, named Ji-yu, in Chaoyang Ancient City, and immediately said respectfully to the white-robed man, "Qingxue greets City Lord Ji. No need to be so polite." At this time, Ji-yu opened his mouth. "Why don't you bring young master to the scripture pavilion to take a look at the Evolution Temple's information?" Yang had a bright idea and said, "Father will send someone to deliver those medicinal pills you want to your room." Until now, he still had the idea of matchmaking Ji-yu and Yang Qingxue. Of course, this time, he wouldn't force his daughter like last time. Instead, he would let things develop naturally. At most, he would add fuel to the fire and wouldn't interfere too much. Daughter obeys. Yang Qingxue didn't have any objections and nodded. Ji-yu found that the relationship between Yang and Yang Qingxue was much better than last time. This was a good thing. "City Lord Ji, please follow me." At this time, Yang Qingxue said to Ji-yu. "Okay." Ji-yu nodded slightly and followed Yang Qingxue. Ding! Master has taken a step. Earth rank, mid-level mystical skill, lightning flash, gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has taken a step. Earth rank, mid-level mystical skill, lightning flash, gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Halfway through, Yang Qingxue spoke first. "Speaking of which, I haven't properly thanked City Lord Ji for his kindness last time." Yang Qingxue said. "It's nothing," Ji said indifferently. "City Lord Ji, don't say that." Yang Qingxue was only halfway through her words when she was interrupted by Ji-yu. "It's already considered a thank you for bringing me to take a look at the information. Right now, other than the information about the Evolution Temple, Ji-yu wasn't interested in anything else." "All right, then." Yang Qingxue could only comply obediently. However, Ji noticed that Yang Qingxue clicked her tongue lightly. At the same time, there was a trace of gloomy displeasure in her eyes. At this time, Ji had already followed Yang Qingxue to the City Lord's Mansion's scripture depository. City Lord Ji, this is our Yang family's scripture pavilion. Yang Qingxue explained to Ji Yu without the slightest bit of impatience. Not only are there all kinds of secret manuals, there are also scrolls that record all kinds of things at the bottom, which is the information that City Lord Ji wants. Ji Yu just nodded. Hello, Mississippi. At this time, an old man in the scripture depository greeted Yang Qingxue respectfully. This old man should be the guardian of this scripture depository. Elder Yang, please open the passageway to the basement. Yang Qingxue told the old man. All right, the old man replied immediately. At this time, he also took a look at Ji Yu. His eyes revealed a trace of curiosity. He was curious about who this white-robed man in front of him that he had never seen before was. However, this person was brought here by the eldest miss, so there shouldn't be any problem. After that, the old man opened a very concealed secret door. From a moment they entered the scripture depository until they walked into the basement, Ji Yu didn't say a single word. He quietly followed Yang Qingxue into the basement. They walked down the stairs until there was a large door at the end. Obviously, this was the door to the basement. City Lord Ji, we have reached the basement. Yang Qingxue said, City Lord Ji, please wait for a moment. As she spoke, she made a small cut on her fingertip and let a drop of blood fall on the door. This basement door could only be opened by her and her father in the entire City Lord's mansion. If it was someone else, it wouldn't have any effect on the door. In the next moment, the sound of the basement door opening could be heard. Then it slowly opened by itself. We can go in now. As she spoke, Yang Qingxue walked into the basement. Ji Yu followed her in. Chapter 344. The entire basement was very large, surrounded by stone walls. There were many luminous stones embedded in the walls, making this underground secret room always bright. There were all kinds of scrolls neatly placed around, but Ji Yu didn't know which one was the information that he wanted. At this moment, Yang Qingxue gradually stopped. She took out a scroll from the side and handed it to Ji Yu. City Lord Ji, this is the information you want about the evolving temple. Thank you. Ji Yu immediately took the scroll. Most of the records in our City Lord's mansion are about the entire Yinchuan ancient city. There are relatively few records of other places in the Kanglan Empire, and there is only one scroll about the evolving temple. Yang Qingxue continued. I understand. Let me take a look first. As Ji Yu spoke, she impatiently opened the scroll. Ding. Master has read the information for 1 minute. Bronze memory gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has read the information for 1 minute. Bronze memory gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ji Yu skimmed through more than half of the scroll, but he didn't see any useful information. It wasn't that it was all nonsense, but he had already seen this information when he was in the Thousand Treasure Pavilion. Ji Yu could only continue to read, hoping to see some useful information, even if it was only 1 or 2. Not long after, he almost finished reading the entire scroll, but he still didn't see any useful information, so he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. But after a while, he felt relieved. After all, it was just a small City Lord's mansion in Yinchuan Ancient City. It couldn't be compared to the Thousand Treasure Pavilion. It was already good enough that there was a scroll that recorded the evolving temple. At the same time, Ji Yu also read to the end. But at this moment, he found a very special piece of information. That was that the members of the Kanglan branch of the evolving temple seemed to have 1 or 2 days of complete freedom every year. Those who were originally from Yinchuan Ancient City would return to Yinchuan Ancient City, but they wouldn't go back to their own families. They liked to have small gatherings in some unknown place. Although this information was very vague, and there was no specific time or location, it gave Ji Yu hope. When it came to information, one could always figure out as long as they slowly gathered information everywhere. Ji Yu had already planned to leave Yinchuan Ancient City for the next ancient city today. Actually, I know the exact time, but I haven't asked someone to write a scroll yet. But at that moment, Yang Qingxue, who was standing at the side, suddenly spoke. What? You said you know the exact time? Jiyu immediately turned to look at Yang Qingxue. He almost thought that he had misheard. Yes, the Azure Water Sub-Hall has 2 fixed times of complete freedom every year, one of which is 7 days later. Yang Qingxue pondered and said, I can't guarantee that it's completely accurate, but it's pretty close. I see. Jiyu was overjoyed. Since Yang Qingxue had provided a specific time, it was much easier for him. As long as he could find the gathering place of those people in Yunchuan, ancient city within 7 days, it would be fine. Even if he couldn't find it by then, he could go to other ancient cities to gather more information. City Lord Ji, are you going to find those people? Yang Qingxue asked with a curious expression. That's right. Ji nodded in response. There was nothing to hide. Then, City Lord Ji, would you like to stay in our City Lord mansion for a few days before we're going to find those people? Yang Qingxue invited. Then I'll have to trouble you. Ji said. It was naturally good to have a place to stay temporarily. I'll send someone to help City Lord Ji clean the courtyard later. Yang Qingxue said. Then, the two left the scripture pavilion. For the next half an hour, Jiyu drank the tea that Yang Qingxue personally brewed. At this time, the servants sent by Yang Qingxue seemed to have cleaned the courtyard that was arranged for Jiyu to stay temporarily. Yang Qingxue then led Jiyu to the courtyard. Chapter 345. At this moment, Jiyu was already sitting in the house in the courtyard. He was going to stay here for 7 days before going to look for the people from the Evolution Temple. During this time, Jiyu planned to use it to increase the realm of the Heaven Splitter technique. He wanted to break through the second layer of the Heaven Splitter technique to reach the Great Perfection realm as soon as possible so that he could maximize the effects of his cultivation. Ding! Master has activated Heaven Splitter. Heaven Splitter obtained experience. 10,000 asterisk 999 times. Ding! Master has activated Heaven Splitter. Heaven Splitter obtained experience. 10,000 asterisk 999 times. For the rest of the time, other than eating and sleeping as usual, Jiyu spent all her time cultivating. After 3 or 4 days, although he didn't directly break through to the Great Perfection realm, he still received a significant increase. Now, his constitution had already reached the 8th grade from the 7th grade spirit body. Jiyu was preparing to break through to the Great Perfection realm, breaking through to the 9th grade spirit body. After a while, Yang Qingxue came over with tea, as usual. City Lord Ji, please enjoy. Yang Qingxue placed a cup of tea on the table. She waited for Jiyu to finish drinking and then put away the teacup. Just as Jiyu was feeling a little thirsty and was about to take a sip, she suddenly sensed a powerful aura coming towards them at high speed. This aura definitely wasn't Yang Wen's. It was even stronger than his own. He instantly became alert, and the cup in his hand stopped in midair. Seeing that Jiyu didn't drink, Yang Qingxue couldn't help but frown. At this moment, Jiyu looked at the tea in his hand and then threw it on the ground. He keenly felt that this tea might be poisoned. Following the sound of the teacup shattering, Yang Qingxue was startled. City Lord Ji, why are you doing this? I want to ask you what you're doing. Jiyu coldly said, You want me to drink this poisoned tea so that your companion can make a move on me? Hearing this, Yang Qingxue's expression gradually became gloomy. She didn't expect Jiyu's soul perception to be so strong. He could already sense her companion. I didn't expect you to see through it. Since it had already come to this point, Yang Qingxue no longer concealed it. She was not flustered, for her accomplice had arrived. The next moment, a man in black entered the room. Looking at the man in black in front of her, Jiyu seemed to understand something. It seems that you're also a member of the Evolving Temple. Jiyu looked at Yang Qingxue. Yes. Yang Qingxue replied with a smile. Jiyu narrowed his eyes. To be honest, he never thought that Yang Qingxue would be someone from the Evolving Temple. He had to admit that this woman had fooled him perfectly. Moreover, the tea that was delivered a few days ago was all normal, which made him let down his guard. If he hadn't coincidentally detected the movements of the men in black today, he would have drunk the poisoned tea. There's no need to say anything more. If you want to fight, just do it. Ji Yu's eyes gradually turned cold as he said indifferently, "No, Ji Gongzi, please don't misunderstand." Yang Qingxue suddenly changed the way she addressed Ji Yu. "Our main purpose this time isn't to attack Ji Gongzi." "Then what do you want?" Ji Yu asked. "You want me to join your evolving temple?" "That's right. As expected of Ji Gongzi, you are so smart." Yang Qingxue praised. "Do you think it's possible?" Ji Yu said with a smile. "If Ji Gongzi doesn't cooperate, then we will have to do it by force." Yang Qingxue said expressionlessly. "This person beside me is one of the elders of our Kanglan branch hall. His cultivation is at level 9 Tong Xian realm. I advise you to be tactful." I already said, don't waste any more words with me. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Yu made the first move and directly used his movement technique to charge at the man in black. Ding! Master has used basic movement technique. Lightning Flash obtained experience, won by 999 times. Seeing Ji Yu charging towards him, the man in black snorted. Petty tricks. The man in black struck out a black palm and hit Ji Yu's abdomen. Ji Yu fell to the ground and seemed to have fainted. Chapter 346. This brat is much weaker than I thought. The black-clothed man looked at Ji Yu, who was on the ground, and said with contempt. Yang Qingxue also felt that it was strange. She clearly remembered that Ji Yu was the second most powerful person in the Kanglan Empire. No matter how strong he shouldn't be defeated by an elder in one move. However, she didn't think too much about it, and felt that the rumors must have exaggerated Ji Yu's strength. As long as she could bring Ji Yu back to the Azure Water Branch Hall, it would be fine. At this moment, Yang Qingxue was overjoyed. She was originally carrying out a mission in the City Lord's mansion, but the main target on the bounty list, Ji Yu, delivered himself to her doorstep. Her original mission was almost completed, and now she could bring Ji Yu back to the Azure Water Branch Hall. Even if she had to split the reward with the elder beside her, she was very comfortable. Most importantly, she would definitely be recorded as a great merit and be promoted to the position of guardian of the Azure Water Branch Hall. The black-clothed man grabbed Ji Yu with one hand and Yang Qingxue with the other, and quickly left the City Lord's mansion. At this moment, Ji Yu, who was supposed to be unconscious, was faintly trembling. In reality, he deliberately pretended to be unconscious so that the black-clothed man and Yang Qingxue could bring him to the Azure Water Branch Hall. If he directly accepted the invitation, it would easily arouse the suspicion of the black-clothed man and Yang Qingxue. Acting like this would be able to deceive everyone. Along the way, Ji Yu controlled himself and didn't make the slightest movement. After an unknown amount of time, Ji Yu finally felt the black-clothed man stop. Give him the antidote. This way he will wake up. At this moment, the black-clothed man's voice suddenly sounded. Then Yang Qingxue stuffed a pill into Ji Yu's mouth. Ding! Master has taken the antidote of the black demon fatal poison, obtained 999 times recovery effect. A system notification sounded in Ji Yu's mind. Actually, he wasn't poisoned from the beginning. At that time, the black-clothed man's palm was neutralized by his profound Qi aura, defensive mystic skill, and third-grade superior silver silk armor. Therefore, it didn't matter if he ate the antidote or not. After a while, Ji Yu pretended to cough heavily a few times, and then slowly opened her eyes, deliberately showing a frightened and flustered expression. Welcome to the Kanglan sub-hall of the Evolving Temple. Seeing that Ji Yu had woken up, the black-clothed man teased. Don't panic, Yang Qingxue said. As long as you join our Azure Water Branch Hall, you'll be one of us. Do I have any other choice? Ji Yu pretended to finally calm down and asked, What do you think? Yang Qingxue asked with a smile. All right, I'm willing to join you. Ji Yu pretended to be in pain and struggle. Isn't that right? Yang Qingxue smiled. Come in with us. Only then did Ji Yu look around and realize that they were on an island. Ding! Master took a look at the lower grade 5th stage array formation, concealment array, and activated 999 times a comprehension. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the lower grade 5th stage array formation, concealment array. Hearing the system notification, Jiyu sighed. No wonder even the Thousand Treasure Pavilion did not know the location of the Kanglan Subhall. It turned out that the Kanglan Subhall was on such a remote island, and there was even a concealment array formation. This was a 5th stage concealment array. Even if a spirit profound realm expert passed by this island, they might not be able to discover that there was an island here. Although Jiyu was only a middle grade 3rd stage array master, when he comprehended the 5th stage concealment array, he also knew how to break it. In the future, he would be able to use this method to make this evolving temple subhall pay a price. Then, Jiyu's gaze was fixed in front of him. In front of him was a grand and majestic hall, and it must be the Kanglan subhall. The moment he stepped into the hall, Jiyu could feel that the profound chi in the Kanglan subhall was very dense, at least several times denser than the outside world. The people around him were all very strong, and the weakest was at the defensive profound realm. There were also all kinds of strange buildings that Jiyu had never seen before. Chapter 347. Not long after, Jiyu was led by the black-clothed man and Yang Qingxue to a building called Bounty Hall. There were many people in the hall, each doing their own thing. No one paid attention to Jiyu who walked in. The main reason was because Jiyu's face was still covered by the white robe. Otherwise, the entire Bounty Hall would be in an uproar. After all, Jiyu was one of the most important targets on the bounty list. Jiyu's gaze looked around the hall and finally stopped on a huge stone board. This board was the so-called bounty list. Jiyu could see that his name was at the top of the list. As expected, he had long become the Azure Water Branch Hall's main target. From the looks of it, the black-clothed man and Yang Qingxue should have brought him here to submit the mission. But when Jiyu saw the second name on the bounty list, his eyes suddenly shrunk. Nangong Maching. Jiyu almost thought that he saw wrongly. He carefully looked again and found that it was still the name Nangong Maching. He couldn't help but be puzzled. Why was Nangong Maching ranked second on the bounty list? The bounty list would show everyone's approximate cultivation level and strength. And in the top 30, there was no one who was weaker than Nangong Maching. It was truly abnormal for Nangong Maching to be ranked second. In terms of martial arts talent, Nangong Maching was not very outstanding. In terms of alchemy talent, he was also not particularly outstanding. Then what was the Azure Water Branch Hall's goal to put Nangong Maching in such an important position? He really couldn't understand, and Jiyu was too lazy to think about it. His gaze continued to move down and saw Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin at the very bottom. As expected, not only Jiang Yuechu, even Jiang Yuexin had been targeted. Jiyu's eyes flashed with unswerving determination when he saw these two names. If he didn't remove these two names from the bounty list, he wouldn't give up. Elder Zhuang, I brought Jiyu back. At this time, the black-clothed man directly said to an old man at the front desk, Elder Zhao, is that true? The old man's eyes flickered with surprise. Of course. The black-clothed man pulled Jiyu out from behind and tore off the white robe on Jiyu's head. At this moment, almost everyone's gazes in the hall converged on him. This appearance, it's actually that Jiyu. Elder Zhao is still the best. You managed to capture that Jiyu so quickly. I heard that that fellow is a Tongxian realm expert of the second tier. Looks like Yang Qingxue and Elder Zhao work together. I'm so envious. The reward for bringing Jiyu back is amazing. Many members of the Azure Billow Hall were envious. Next, the black-clothed man and Yang Qingxue split the reward. Meanwhile, Jiyu was brought away by Elder Zhuang. Elder Zhuang brought Jiyu to an altar. In the middle of this altar, there was a sparkling and translucent green crystal. Since you're already here, you should know what to do next, right? Elder Zhuang said to Jiyu. Yes. Jiyu nodded slightly. Naturally, he knew that he had to join the Azure Billow Hall next. However, he wasn't sure what kind of process and ceremony he had to go through. It's good that you know what to do. Elder Zhuang said. Next, place your hand on this crystal. I can remind you in advance that this crystal will engrave a curse deep in your soul. From now on, everything you do will be based on the interests of the Evolution Temple. Think about it carefully. However, if you're not willing to accept it, you'll be imprisoned in a dark secret room until you're willing to accept it. Elder Zhuang's words seemed to be lenient, but it was actually forcing him into a dead end. Ji Yu didn't say anything and placed his hand on the crystal without hesitation. Seeing Ji Yu so decisive, Elder Zhuang was surprised and reminded him, "About 10 seconds is enough." Ding! Master Soul Power has been invaded. Soul Power gained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding! Master Soul Power has been invaded. Soul Power gained experience. Won by 999 times. Within 10 seconds, Ji Yu's soul power increased by a lot. The reason why he was so decisive was because he heard Elder Zhuang's words. The crystal could invade the soul. As for Ji Yu, not only did he live 2 lives, but his soul power was also much stronger than normal people. Therefore, he wasn't worried that his soul would be invaded by the crystal. After 10 seconds, in order to not be suspected by Elder Zhuang, Ji Yu could only let go of his hand on the crystal. Otherwise, he would have kept it for a while longer so that his soul power could continue to increase. Very good. Elder Zhuang showed a satisfied expression. Guardian Ji, from today onwards, you're a part of the Evolution Temple. Chapter 348. Protector. Ji Yu asked doubtfully. Here, I can arrange positions for newcomers. Most of them are ordinary disciples, and a small number of them can become deacons. Elder Zhuang said, and with your talent and strength, although I can't let you become an elder the moment you enter, it's not a problem for you to become a protector. Hearing the other party's words, Ji Yu more or less understood. In this Azure Water Branch Hall, the positions were divided from lowest to highest: disciple, deacon, protector, elder. Above that, would it be the Vice Hall Master and Hall Master? Although Ji Yu came here to erase the names of Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin from the bounty list, it was not bad to become a protector the moment he entered. This Black Fiend Life Extinguishing Palm is your gift for joining my Azure Water Branch Hall. As he spoke, Elder Zhuang took out a secret manual. This, can I change it? Ji Yu asked. He had already comprehended the Black Fiend Life Extinguishing Palm, but he had never used it before. You want to change it? That's fine too. Elder Zhuang did not care too much and gave a secret manual to Ji Yu. Take a look at this and see if it's okay. The reason why he was so polite to Ji Yu was because Ji Yu had joined their Azure Water Branch Hall and could be treated as a true comrade. Furthermore, Ji Yu's name was like thunder to the ears. Breaking through to the spirit profound realm was only a matter of time. In the future, he might need Ji Yu's help, so it was good to get closer to him now. Ji Yu took a look and found that it was a defensive profound skill. He opened it and casually flipped through it. Ding! Master has seen the high-level profound rank defensive profound skill Glazed Shield, activating 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the high-level profound rank defensive profound skill Glazed Shield. Sure. Ji Yu immediately thanked him. Thank you, Elder Zhuang. The defensive profound skill that came with his system had just been upgraded to the middle level of the yellow rank. This high-level profound rank Glazed Shield was undoubtedly very useful to him. As long as you're satisfied, Elder Zhuang said, all right, I will continue with my work. You can go and familiarize yourself with our Azure Water Branch Hall. All right, Ji Yu replied. He couldn't help but sigh. The other party was clearly his enemy, but he was able to converse with him in such a friendly manner. Perhaps this was Elder Zhuang's confidence in the green crystal. He had completely treated Ji Yu as one of his own. Speaking of which, Ji Yu was suddenly a little concerned. The old man's surname was Zhuang. He wondered if he was related to Zhuang Mingyan, the Grand Elder of Alchemy in the Qianyuan Martial House. Ji Yu didn't leave the altar immediately. He then placed his hand on the cyan crystal in order to increase his soul power. Ding! Master's soul has been invaded. Soul power experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master's soul has been invaded. Soul power experience gained. 1 by 999 times. As time passed, GU's soul power continued to grow. After an unknown amount of time, the system notification in his mind suddenly stopped. It seems that my soul power is now so strong that it isn't affected by the cyan crystal at all. GU retracted his hand and muttered to himself. To put it simply, the cyan crystal could invade his soul and his soul would resist. Slowly, as his soul power grew stronger, the cyan crystal couldn't even invade his soul now. Therefore, the system wouldn't send out the notification that his soul was invaded anymore. Chapter 349. GU left the altar and wandered around the Azure Water Subhall. The news of GU joining had spread throughout the Azure Water Subhall. No matter where GU went, he would attract countless gazes. I didn't expect GU to join as well. I heard Elder Zheng and Yang Qingxue brought him back together. A prodigy is indeed a prodigy. He just came in, and he already became a protector. Damn, I haven't even become a deacon yet. I don't know when I will become a protector. After walking around the Azure Water Subhall for a long time, GU found that the people around him were quite normal. It was very different from what he originally imagined. He originally thought that the people in the Evolution Temple were all demonic cultivators. After all, the black fatal poison was too cruel. However, it might be because they saw him as an ally. If he was seen as an enemy, these people would definitely not be so friendly. After walking around for so long, GU found that the Azure Water Subhall was very rich in training resources. Training grounds, gravity training grounds, Iron Man Alley, spirit training grounds, all kinds of training grounds were available. There were many things that GU had never seen before. GU seemed to have discovered a new world and felt that it was very novel. He walked into the gravity training ground, intending to see what it felt like. GU. In the hall, a middle-aged man at the front desk recognized GU at a glance. Since you just joined here, I will inform you of some things. Your salary is 1,000 evolution points per month. Gold coins are not allowed in the Azure Water Subhall. Evolution points are the standard currency. Then, are you planning to enter the gravity room to train? After hearing the middle-aged man's words, GU nodded and replied, "That's right. Then I will explain the rules to you. Find a gravity room that no one is using and insert your identity card. The gravity room will be activated. After entering the gravity room, you can freely adjust the gravity at any time, and your points will be deducted according to the gravity. If your points are not enough, the gravity room will automatically stop. Do you understand these rules?" The middle-aged man said a lot in one breath. "I have some doubts." GU asked, "What is an identity card? You don't even know what an identity card is?" The middle-aged man was slightly surprised. "Didn't Elder Zhuang give you a blue magnetic card?" "I don't think so." GU thought for a moment. She didn't remember Elder Zhuang giving her anything like a magnetic card. Then Elder Zhuang must have forgotten. The middle-aged man said, "If you don't have the magnetic card, you won't be able to enter the gravity room to cultivate. You'll have to find Elder Zhuang again." "I understand. Thank you for your reminder, Senior," GU said respectfully. Although he did not have a good impression of the Azure Water Branch Hall, in order to achieve his ultimate goal, he had to do his best to integrate into this circle. At the very least, he had to figure out how to erase the name on the bounty list. After that, GU left the gravity training ground. He went straight to the bounty hall. However, on the way, GU happened to meet Yang Qingxue. Yang Qingxue walked over face to face, so she naturally noticed GU at the same time. "From the looks of it, you didn't put up much resistance and directly joined us." Yang Qingxue spoke first. There was a hint of playfulness in her tone. "You flatter me," GU said calmly. Yang Qingxue was speechless for a moment. She was obviously not praising this guy. "But you haven't returned to Yinchuan Ancient City for so long. Aren't you afraid that your father will find out your identity?" GU said calmly. "What are you afraid of? I'm going back now. The mission there hasn't been completed yet," Yang Qingxue said. GU stopped talking and walked past Yang Qingxue. He was too lazy to guess and didn't care what mission Yang Qingxue was carrying out in Yinchuan Ancient City. To be honest, I really have to thank you. At this time, Yang Qingxue looked back and smiled. If you hadn't stopped my scumbag father and made me choose between Qianyuan Martial House and my father, I wouldn't be as relaxed as I am now. Jiyu subconsciously looked back and saw the smile on Yang Qingxue's face. However, he only saw benefits in that smile. He felt that he might have noticed what kind of mission Yang Qingxue was carrying out in Yinchuan Ancient City Lore Mansion. I don't need your thanks. Jiyu shook his head slightly and continued to walk in the direction of the bounty hall. Don't be so cold. Yang Qingxue laughed and said, Trust me, this place won't let you down. Chapter 350. Ding. Master has taken a step. Earth rank, mid-level mystical skill, lightning flash has gained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has taken a step. Earth rank, mid-level mystical skill, lightning flash has gained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Not long after, Jiyu arrived at the bounty hall. Seeing the top of the bounty list appear in the bounty hall once again, the surrounding crowd was still restless. After all, this was the fastest prodigy they had ever seen to give in. In the past, the more powerful a prodigy was, the more resistant they would be when they were about to come into contact with the green crystal. Many of them were unwilling to accept it at the beginning. After being imprisoned in a secret room for a long time, they could not take it anymore and finally accepted the green crystal invading their souls. Obviously, in the eyes of these people, they all thought that Jiyu would give in immediately. However, there were also some people who thought that Jiyu was the smart one. After all resistance was futile. It was better to just give in directly. However, none of them knew that the green crystal had no effect on Jiyu. Why are you here? Seeing Jiyu walk in, Elder Zhuang immediately asked. Elder Zhuang seems to have forgotten to give me a magnetic card. That's why I'm here. Ji said, Oh. At this moment, Elder Zhuang suddenly realized that he had indeed forgotten about this. He immediately took out a blue magnetic card and handed it to Jiyu. This is your identity card as a protector. You must keep it well. Elder Zhuang reminded. Every month, you will receive 1,000 points as a protector's salary. It will be automatically transferred to your magnetic card. Understood. Jiyu nodded. At this moment, he turned to look at the bounty list and noticed that his name had disappeared. Nangong Maching, who was originally second, had become first. Elder Zhuang, if I bring back the target on the bounty list, will that target's name disappear from the list? Jiyu asked in a natural manner. Yes, Elder Zhuang replied. At the same time, he felt that Jiyu's adaptability was too strong. Not long ago, he had just been captured as the top of the bounty list, and now he could calmly discuss the bounty list with him. In that case, Elder Zhuang, you were the one who rewrote this list? Jiyu asked. That's right. Elder Zhuang said, I am the bounty elder in charge of the bounty hall. Other than me, only the Vice Hall Master and Lord Hall Master can rewrite the bounty list in the entire Azure Water Branch Hall. In response to Jiyu's questions, Elder Zhuang did not suspect anything. This was because no matter who it was, as long as they came into contact with the green crystal, the benefits of the evolution temple would become the highest existence in the depths of their soul. Therefore, he never thought of worrying about anything. Thank you for your explanation, Elder Zhuang. After that, Jiyu left with a blue card. Now, his goal was even clearer. There were two methods at the moment. The first was to accept the bounty mission and bring Jiang Yuechu, Jiang Yuexin, and Nangong Maching to the Azure Water Branch Hall. Then, the names on the bounty list would disappear. However, this was too dangerous and did not have much confidence. Jiyu would definitely not choose this method. As for the second method, it was to use his own strength to obtain the position of Elder or even Vice Hall Master or Hall Master. That way, he could rewrite the bounty list according to his wishes. The second method was very low risk, but he did not know how difficult it was. However, for them, Jiyu was willing to give a try. The first small goal at the moment, should be to be promoted from guardian to elder. Chapter 351. Next, Jiyu did not rush to the gravity room to cultivate. Instead, he first familiarized himself with the rules here. After spending some time, he roughly understood what kind of place this was. Simply put, this was a place where one's strength spoke and the competition was very intense. The positions were as he had guessed before. From lowest to highest: disciple, deacon, protector, elder, vice hall master, and hall master. Ordinary disciples had the least status. The higher the position, and the higher the monthly salary. What was terrifying was that other than the highest-ranking hall master, there were fixed quotas for deacon, protector, elder, and vice hall master positions that required strength to compete for. There were a total of 100 deacon positions, 50 protector positions, 10 elder positions, and 3 vice hall master positions. Once a new member became a deacon or protector, the weakest protector among the original 50 protectors would be demoted to a deacon. The person who was demoted to deacon could unconditionally challenge the new protector who replaced him. Moreover, the other party could not refuse. If they won, they would return to their protector position. On the other hand, if they lost, they could only obediently become a deacon. In other words, Jiyu became a protector the moment he joined the Azure Water Branch Hall. In fact, he had unintentionally replaced the original protector. However, he was not worried that that person would not challenge him. With his strength, he was able to contend with the elders in the Azure Water Branch Hall. Apart from other things, the rules of the Azure Water Branch Hall were simple and crude. It was quite to Jiyu's liking. Everything was based on strength, and there were no other trivial matters. He liked this kind of place. According to the rules here, if Jiyu wanted to become a bounty elder, he only needed to challenge the current bounty elder and win. However, there were conditions for issuing a challenge. For example, if he wanted to challenge the bounty elder, he must first take out 50,000 points. This was the condition of the challenge, or rather the bet. Then, if the challenge was successful, Jiyu would become the new bounty elder and the 50,000 points would be returned to the original owner. If she failed the challenge, not only would Jiyu not get anything, the 50,000 points would also go to her opponent. Therefore, if one did not have absolute confidence, most people would not dare to challenge someone of a higher position. 50,000 points. It's not easy to get that many points. Jiyu thought to herself, next, I'll have to think of a way to get as many points as possible. Within the Azure Water Branch Hall, there were many ways to obtain points. For example, completing the missions on the bounty list, obtaining the corresponding monthly salary of the position, breaking the various historical records of the Gravity Training Ground, breaking the various historical records of the Spirit Training Ground, breaking the various historical records of the Tong Tian Tower, breaking the various historical records of the Tong Tian Tower, and so on. Among them, the most common way to earn points was to clear the Tong Tian Tower. In this Azure Water Branch Hall, there was a towering tower that pierced through the clouds. It was called Sky Split Tower. Sky Split Tower had a total of 10 levels. The first level would automatically generate enemies based on the cultivation of the challenger. The higher the level, the more difficult it would be. Every time he passed a level, he would be rewarded with a corresponding amount of points. However, compared to Sky Split Tower, Jiyu still wanted to go to the Gravity Training Ground and Spirit Training Ground to take a look. After all, Sky Split Tower was nothing more than relying on strength to clear the levels. There was nothing strange about it. As for the Gravity Training Ground and Spirit Training Ground, this was the first time Jiyu had heard of them. Naturally, she was more curious. Protector G. Greetings, Protector G. Now, the entire Azure Water Branch Hall knew that Jiyu had just joined and was already a protector. The Azure Water Branch Hall's hierarchy was very strict. There was a clear distinction between high and low positions. This was deeply rooted in people's hearts. Those with low positions would be very respectful to those with high positions. The majority of the Azure Water Branch Hall's disciples were ordinary. Those with higher positions than Jiyu were the elders, vice hall masters, and hall masters. Therefore, along the way, the people who saw Jiyu were very respectful. Chapter 353. Ding. Master is being suppressed by 2 times gravity. Bronze level physical body gained experience 2 by 999 times. Ding. Master is being suppressed by 2 times gravity. Bronze level willpower gained experience 2 by 999 times. The system notification sounded in his head. Not long after, the 2 times gravity did not work on GU. He immediately adjusted the multiplier of gravity to 3 times the normal. Ding. Master is being suppressed by 3 times gravity. Bronze level physical body gained experience 3 by 999 times. Ding. Master is being suppressed by 3 times gravity. Bronze level willpower gained experience 3 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Bronze level physical body has successfully broken through to the initial stage. Then, for times 5 times, ding. Congratulations, Master. Bronze level physical body has successfully broken through to the initial stage. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Bronze level willpower has successfully broken through to the perfection stage. Ding. Bronze level willpower has been detected to have reached the perfection stage. Automatically upgraded to silver level willpower. In the blink of an eye, GU had already spent 500 points. His physical body and willpower had both broken through, especially his willpower, which had been upgraded to the silver level. GU decided to stop here. He could not spend all his points on the gravity room. He still had to go to other places, so he would definitely need to spend some points. In the end, he still had to save some points to go to the Tong Tian Tower, because it required points to enter the Tong Tian Tower. After a while, GU walked out of the gravity room. At this moment, a few people happened to pass by the entrance of the number 46 gravity room, looking for an empty one. When they heard someone walking out of the number 46 gravity room, they subconsciously turned to look. Guardian G. When they saw that it was GU, they all greeted him respectfully. Yes, G just responded casually and walked past them. As a superior, there was no need for him to give them any special treatment. However, those people didn't take it to heart. After all, GU's status was higher than theirs. However, at this moment, they suddenly noticed that the gravitational force of gravity room 46 was actually 5 times. They almost thought that they had seen wrongly. They rubbed their eyes and looked again carefully. It was indeed 5 times. What kind of monster is this? He actually increased the gravity to 5 times. Holy sh*t, I'm already having a hard time with 2 times the gravity, but Guardian G is already at 5 times the gravity. The problem is that Protector G has just joined our Azure Water Branch Hall today, so this must be his first time in the gravity room. To be able to withstand 5 times the gravity on his first try, it's no wonder he was the first on the bounty list. Those people immediately cried out in alarm. This time, they admired Protector G even more. In a place like the Azure Water Temple, the people they respected the most were powerhouses like Protector G. At the same time, on the other side, G was heading to the mental strength training ground. Similar to the gravity training ground, the mental strength training ground also had hundreds of mental strength control rooms. There were different levels of special puppets in the mental strength control rooms. Those puppets could be controlled through mental strength. Controlling the puppets would increase one's mental strength. The stronger the mental strength, the higher the level of the puppet. Of course, the puppets in the mental strength control room were only limited to training. No one was allowed to take the puppets out of the room without permission. Otherwise, they would be severely punished. Apart from this, the mental strength training ground would also hold periodic competitions. Participants would control the puppets to compete with other participants. The top-ranked participants would be rewarded with points. These were some of the things that GU knew about the mental training ground. Just as he was about to go through the procedures to enter the mental strength control room, someone called him from behind. "You're that new Protector GU?" Hearing this voice, GU subconsciously turned around. He saw a feminine young man looking at him with an unfriendly gaze. "Who are you?" GU had never seen this person before and asked. Chapter 354. Looks like you've admitted it. The effeminate-looking youth said, "You should know the rules here." So? The other party's tone didn't seem friendly, so Jiyu didn't give him any face. "I'm the original guardian that you replaced," the effeminate-looking youth said directly. This time, Jiyu immediately understood. If he wasn't wrong, this guy was here to find trouble with him. The original guardian that was replaced by a newcomer had one chance to challenge the newcomer unconditionally. "So you want to challenge me?" Jiyu said indifferently. However, the effeminate-looking youth's reply surprised him. "Not really." The effeminate-looking youth said, "I know you're very strong, and I admit that I'm not as good as you. I just want to compare our spiritual power. This is just a spar. No matter who wins or loses, there's no price to pay." In fact, he had always been known for his powerful spiritual power in the Kanglan Branch Hall, and he had the strongest spiritual power among all the guardians. In comparison, his martial arts strength was very ordinary. He was at the bottom of the list of all the protectors. After all, martial arts and spiritual power were two different aspects, and it was very difficult to cultivate both at the same time. He was actually rather dissatisfied that his position as a guardian had been taken away by a newcomer named Jiyu. However, he couldn't challenge Jiyu. That was purely asking for trouble. This time, he happened to meet Jiyu here, so he wanted to find Jiyu to compare their spiritual power. If he won, even if there were no benefits, his mood would be better. As for if he lost, he didn't think that he would lose at all. In the entire Kanglan Branch Hall, his spiritual power was one of the best. He had absolute confidence in his spiritual power. The only thing he was worried about was that the other party might not accept his request for a spar. Because this was considered a challenge, there were no rules, and it wasn't as unconditional and mandatory as a martial arts challenge. Sure, Jiyu casually accepted. Comparing spiritual power? He wasn't afraid. Hearing the other party's words, the effeminate-looking youth was stunned. He didn't expect the other party to agree so readily. He was just worried that the other party wouldn't accept. "Just tell me, how do you want to compete?" Jiyu asked. "Later, we will enter the same spirit control room, and each of us will control the puppets to fight against each other. Whichever side loses their spirit connection will be considered the loser," the effeminate youth explained in detail. "All right, let's do it." Without hesitation, Jiyu went through the procedures and entered a spirit control room. Inside a huge mental control room, there are all kinds of puppets placed around. There was a large space in the middle that could be used for both training and sparring with others. "I'll pay you back the points you spent this time." The effeminate youth also walked in and said to Jiyu, "As you wish." Jiyu said indifferently. He didn't care about the points. However, the person in front of him seemed to be more realistic than he had imagined. "Then let's begin," the effeminate young man said. Jiyu didn't waste any more time and turned to look at the puppets around her. These puppets were divided into 3 ranks, from lowest to highest: normal, bronze, and silver. They were further divided into first class, second class, and third class. For example, the bronze class first to third class puppets required a spiritual power above the bronze class to be able to control them. As for why there were no puppets above the silver class, it was because no one in the Kanglan Branch Hall had a spiritual power above the silver class, so there was no need for that. Chapter 355. Ding. Master is trying to use his spiritual power to control the puppet, activating 999 times comprehension ability. Ding. Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the method to control the puppet. Jiyu was trying to use his spiritual power to control the puppet. After all, he had never come into contact with this kind of thing before, so he had to get used to it first. However, 2 system notifications instantly sounded in his mind. In the next moment, he immediately understood the method to control the puppet. He also knew that with his bronze-level spiritual power, he could control a bronze-level second-class puppet. Ding! It has been detected that Master is controlling a bronze-level second-class puppet. The success rate of controlling the puppet has increased by 999 times. Ding! Master has used his spiritual power to control a bronze-level second-class puppet. Bronze-level spiritual power gained 50 by 999 times experience. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Bronze-level spiritual power has successfully broken through to the realm of mastery. He didn't expect that controlling a puppet could increase the success rate by 999 times. GU's spiritual power immediately connected to the bronze-level second-class puppet. Seeing that GU directly controlled a bronze-level second-class puppet, Lin Yi couldn't help but be shocked. Lin Yi was naturally that feminine young man. He really didn't expect that GU could actually control a bronze-level second-class puppet. In other words, GU's spiritual power had already reached bronze level, and it wasn't just an ordinary bronze-level spiritual power. Even he, Lin Yi, could only barely control a bronze-level third-class puppet. At this moment, he instantly dismissed the idea of controlling a bronze-level second-class puppet and switched to controlling a bronze-level third-class puppet. At the same time, GU realized that his bronze-level spiritual power had broken through to the realm of mastery. This also meant that he could now control a bronze-level third-class puppet. He broke the spiritual power connection with the bronze-level second-class puppet and switched to the bronze-level third-class puppet. Ding! It has been detected that Master is controlling a bronze-level third-class puppet. The success rate of controlling the puppet has increased by 999 times. Ding! Master has used his spiritual power to control a bronze-level third-class puppet. Bronze-level spiritual power gained 100 by 999 times experience. With the support of a success rate of 999 times, GU successfully controlled the bronze-level third-class puppet very easily. On the other side, seeing GU's actions in front of him, Lin Yi was stunned. How could this guy control a bronze-grade, third-grade puppet like himself? More importantly, this guy actually succeeded. This was a bronze-ranked level 3 puppet. Most people who possessed bronze-level spiritual power would not be able to control the bronze-level third-class puppet. Lin Yi's spiritual power was close to that of a silver rank, which was why he had a higher chance of controlling a bronze rank 3 puppet. However, it wasn't a 100% success rate. However, not only did GU succeed in controlling it, but he also looked relaxed. Furthermore, when he had just switched to controlling the bronze grade 3 puppet, the other party had also switched to controlling the bronze grade 3 puppet at the same time. It was as if he was mocking him, but in reality, this was just a coincidence. GU just happened to have a breakthrough in her bronze-level spiritual power. That was why she tried to control higher-level puppets. It had nothing to do with Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi didn't know this. He only felt that he had been humiliated. No matter how easy it was for the other party to control the bronze rank 3 puppet, he would not give up. He had to make a comparison. In the end, it was his spiritual power that was stronger. In the end, GU's spiritual power was still stronger. Chapter 356. When the battle began, both parties' puppets collided with each other. After a few minutes, Lin Yi's spiritual link with the puppet was broken. After all, GU had 999 times the success rate of controlling the puppet. It was impossible for him to lose unless Lin Yi had a silver rank spiritual power that far surpassed his. I lost. Lin Yi could only admit defeat with a dispirited look. Before leaving, he also settled the points he had spent in the spiritual control room. And GU continued to control the puppet in the spiritual control room. Ding! Master controlled the puppet for 1 minute. Bronze rank spiritual power gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master controlled the puppet for 1 minute. Bronze rank spiritual power gained experience. 1 by 999 times. After an unknown amount of time, when GU felt that his bronze rank spiritual power was about to break through, he discovered that he had already spent 300 points. In other words, he only had 200 points left. GU thought for a while and decided to give up for the time being. These 200 points, he still had to leave them for Tong Tian Tower. If he didn't even have enough points to enter Tong Tian Tower, then he would feel terrible. After leaving the spiritual training ground, Jiyu directly went to Tong Tian Tower. Ding! Master took a step, Earth rank middle grade, lightning flash gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master took a step, Earth rank middle grade, lightning flash gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Not long after, Jiyu arrived at Tong Tian Tower. After paying the required points to enter Tong Tian Tower, he entered the first floor of Tong Tian Tower. The first floor of Tong Tian Tower was made up of 50 independent spaces, which could allow 50 people to challenge at the same time. Some people would come here to exchange pointers and enter the first floor of Tong Tian Tower at the same time, and then compete to see who could pass the first floor the fastest. Not long after Jiyu entered the first floor, a black-clothed, faceless man appeared in front of him. He probed the black-clothed, faceless man's cultivation. Sure enough, it was the same as Tong Tian Tower's rules. The rules of Skysplit Tower were that the first floor would arrange opponents according to the cultivation of the challenger. For example, if Jiyu's cultivation level was at LV6 of the Tong Tian realm, then the Tong Tian Tower would arrange an opponent at LV5 of the Tong Tian realm for her. It was precisely because of this rule that many people would choose to challenge the trial when their cultivation was at the peak or perfection stage. For example, if Jiyu were to fight against an LV5 Tongshin realm opponent with her LV6 Tongshin realm cultivation base, she would have a huge advantage. Ding! Master has used the first style of Brilliant Sun in the Sky. The first style of Brilliant Sun in the Sky has obtained 1,000 by 999 times the experience. Ding! Chapter 357. At this moment, an ancient bell rang on the second floor of the Tong Tian Tower. The sound of the bell alarmed everyone in the vicinity of the Tong Tian Tower. What is going on? The bell of the Tong Tian Tower rang. It means that someone has broken the record of a certain floor. I think the bell came from the second floor of the Tong Tian Tower. That means that the second floor's record has been broken. That's impossible, right? The Tong Tian Tower's record hasn't been broken for a long time. Because the Tong Tian Tower's record hadn't been broken for a long time, many people had forgotten what the bell meant. More and more people gathered at the Tong Tian Tower. They all wanted to know who had broken the record of the second floor of Tong Tian Tower. When they saw that the second floor's record had changed from 10 seconds to 2 seconds, they were all stunned. The record of 10 seconds had become 2 seconds. What kind of terrifying leap was this? They originally thought that the new record would only be 9 seconds, which would barely break the original record. After all, at this level, every second was a huge difference. But they didn't expect that the second floor's record would be broken to 2 seconds. This was simply not giving the later generation a chance to live. Almost everyone present had participated in the Tong Tian Tower and entered the second floor before. The better ones took a minute or even a few minutes, while the worse ones couldn't even pass the second floor. Not to mention breaking the second floor's record. Most of them couldn't even pass the second floor's record within a minute. The previous record of 10 seconds hadn't been broken for 5 to 6 years. Now, it had become 2 seconds. It would probably take decades or even centuries to break the record. At the same time, Jiyu had entered the third floor of the Tong Tian Tower. On the third floor, he had to face 6 men in black who were at the peak of level 5 Tongshin realm. The battle was about to start. Ding! Master has used the first form of the Brilliant Sun in the Sky. The first form of the Brilliant Sun in the Sky has gained 1,000 by 999 times the experience. Ding! Master has activated 60% of the half-step sword intent. The experience gained is 600 times 999 times the experience. 1 sword, 2 swords, 3 swords, 4 swords, 5 swords, 6 swords, 6 sword strikes in 6 seconds, killing 6 people instantly. However, at this moment, Jiyu's aura suddenly became a lot weaker, and she couldn't recover her strength. Even if his cultivation base was at the peak of LV6 Tongshin realm, he would not be able to withstand 6 consecutive strikes of the Earth rank inferior sword technique. Furthermore, the quality of the profound energy in his body was higher than that of ordinary people. If it was an ordinary Tongxian realm martial cultivator, they would have used up all the mystic qi in their body after executing 1 or 2 low-grade Earth rank mystic skills. We can only stop here for now. Ji shook her head slightly. This time, he was too careless. He only wanted to break the record and didn't properly distribute the profound qi in his body. This was because Tong Tian Tower had a very deadly rule, and that was that no one was allowed to take any pills in Tong Tian Tower. Once they passed this level, they would be immediately sent to the next level with almost no time to rest. You could guess that on the next floor, which was the 3rd floor, there would be at least 10 of these black-clothed, faceless men at peak LV5 Tongxian realm. In his current state, he could only perform 1 more Earth rank sword technique at most. Even if he only used a high-grade mystic skill to deal with 10 Tongxian realm martial cultivators, he would have to fight and rest at the same time. If that was the case, he might as well leave for now. In any case, Jiyu had passed the 3rd floor and even broke the records on the 2nd and 3rd floor. In total, she would be able to obtain 10,000 points. On the other side, outside the arena, while everyone was still discussing how the 2nd floor's record had been broken, suddenly, the loud sound of the bell rang again. The arena instantly quieted down because everyone was so shocked that they couldn't speak. Silence. Incomparable silence. Most people didn't even know how to think, and their minds were blank. Chapter 358. Breaking the record on the 2nd level in 2 seconds was already shocking enough. Now, even the 3rd level was cleared in 6 seconds. One had to know that the original record took 1 minute. Unsurprisingly, the records on the 2nd and 3rd levels were both broken by the same person. Now, everyone was filled with anticipation. Who was the person who broke the records on the 2nd and 3rd levels consecutively? At this moment, Jiyu just finished a challenge and appeared in front of everyone. Seeing a bunch of people gathered here, he immediately understood that it was because he broke the record that attracted so many people. He didn't want to attract too much attention, so he walked out calmly as if nothing had happened. However, there were still many who took notice of Jiyu. This is Jiyu, right? Why is he in the Tong Tian Tower? The record on the 3rd level was just broken, and he suddenly appeared. Could it be that he's the one who broke the records on the 2nd and 3rd levels consecutively? I think it's possible. I've heard that Jiyu is the #1 prodigy. Many people guessed that the person who broke the record was Jiyu, but they couldn't be completely sure. They all stared at Jiyu with fanatical eyes. Jiyu blushed with shame. If a bunch of beauties stared at him like that, it would be fine. With such a group of men staring at him like this, it made him feel very uncomfortable. Jiyu immediately had goosebumps all over his body. He braced himself and walked over to the elder to collect his points. The elder in charge of the Tong Tian Tower seemed to already know that the person who broke the record twice consecutively was Jiyu. Jiyu didn't say anything and directly handed his identity card to the elder. 10,000 points have been added to your card. After a few seconds, the elder slowly said. This voice instantly caused a huge uproar. 10,000 points. Did I hear wrongly? F***CK. It's 10,000 points directly. Then the person who broke the record is definitely him. F***CK. It's really Guardian G. What did he eat to grow up to be so strong? Just as everyone was exclaiming in amazement, a voice that was different from the rest sounded. Wait, I feel that something is wrong. Since the records on the 2nd and 3rd floors were broken so easily, why wasn't the record on the 1st floor broken? When he said this, many people came to a realization. He had broken the records for the 2nd and 3rd floors, but he had not broken the record for the 1st floor. This was a little strange. Yeah, what's going on? Maybe it's because it's Protector G's first time entering Tong Tian Tower, so he's not used to it yet. That's why he took so long to clear the 1st level. This is indeed possible. When I first entered Tong Tian Tower, I was stunned for a long time. Everyone was discussing this very enthusiastically. On the other hand, Jiyu remained indifferent. Chapter 359. Ji returned to his resting area and consumed an elixir to recover his celestial chi ding. Master has consumed an elixir to recover celestial chi. Celestial chi recovery effect increased by 999 times. Ding. Master has consumed an elixir to recover celestial chi. Celestial chi recovery effect increased by 999 times. After swallowing a few elixirs, Ji finally recovered his celestial chi next. He planned to improve his sword technique and sword intent. According to the rules of the Tong Tian Tower, Ji could not continue to improve his cultivation. His current cultivation was already at peak stage 6 of the Tongxian realm. If he broke through again, he would reach early stage 7 of the Tongxian realm. When he entered the Tong Tian Tower, he would have to face the faceless man in black who was at peak stage 6 of the Tongxian realm. That would undoubtedly be more difficult. Only by improving his sword technique and sword intent would it be helpful for him to challenge the Tong Tian Tower. Ding! Master has used the first form of the brilliant sun in the sky. The first form of the brilliant sun in the sky has gained 1,000 by 999 times the experience. Ding! Master has activated 60% sword intent. The experience gained is 600 times 999 times the experience. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The first form of the brilliant sun in the sky has broken through to the mastery level. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The first form of the Sword Dao has broken through to the first form of the Sword Dao. It was late at night. After an unknown amount of time, Ji finally had a breakthrough in his sword technique and sword intent. On the second day, early in the morning, Ji once again went to challenge the Tong Tian Tower. With Ji's arrival, the originally sparsely populated Tong Tian Tower suddenly became lively. Isn't that Guardian Ji? Why is he here again? Didn't Guardian Ji just challenge the Tong Tian Tower yesterday? He even broke the records on the second and third level. It hasn't even been a day, and he's here again. F***CK. Protector Ji can't be thinking of breaking the fourth level's record this time, right? Not necessarily. It could be the record on the first level. Under everyone's gaze, Ji walked into the Tong Tian Tower. It was the same elder from yesterday. Ji didn't waste any more words and directly handed the identity card to the elder. "All right, you can go in now," the elder said. His voice sounded very calm, but there was a hint of excitement in his tone. To be able to witness a prodigy breaking records again and again, most people would have been extremely excited. He was only restraining his emotions because of his status as an elder. After Ji entered the first level, she saw the black-clothed, faceless man in front of her. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. On the third second, Ji quickly pulled out her sword. Ding! Master has used the first style of Brilliant Sun in the Sky. Brilliant Sun in the Sky obtained 1,000 by 999 times the experience. Ding! Master has activated 70% of Sword Dao True Meaning. Experience gained from 70% Sword Dao True Meaning. 700 by 999 times. Without any suspense, he was killed in one strike. By the time Ji sheathed Lung Feng, he had already been sent to the second level. When he arrived at the second floor, he saw the record displayed at the top, 2 seconds. He couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Yesterday, he didn't notice that the original record for the second floor was only 10 seconds. In the end, he directly broke the record to 2 seconds. Otherwise, he could have kept the record for the second floor from 10 seconds to 9 seconds to 8 seconds and so on. That way, he could have earned more points. Unfortunately, it was too late for regrets. Ji had learned to be smarter today. Just now, she only broke the record for the first floor to 3 seconds, which was just slightly faster than 4 seconds. As for now, Ji planned to slowly pass the second and third floor, so there was no need to rush. She rationally allocated her stamina and celestial chi to the fourth and fifth floor to avoid the situation yesterday, where she used up all her celestial chi on the third floor. At the same time, outside the arena, when the crowd heard the sound of the bell coming from the first floor, most of them weren't surprised. In their opinion, Guardian G didn't break the record for the first floor yesterday purely because he wasn't used to it. Now, they only cared if you could break the record for the fourth floor as well. Chapter 360. Ding. Master has executed the Lone Peak 9 Swords, Brilliant Sun in the Sky, first form. Obtained experience, 400 by 999 times. Ding. Master has activated 70% of Sword Dao True Meaning. Experience gained from 70% Sword Dao True Meaning, 700 by 999 times. On the second and third floors, you only use the superior mystic rank Lone Peak 9 Swords to deal with the faceless men in black. The Lone Peak 9 Swords consumed much less mystic chi compared to the inferior Earth rank Sword Art, Brilliant Sun in the Sky, first form. In total, Jiu used less than 10% of her mystic chi to pass the second and third floors. It was just that she took a little longer. Then, Jiu arrived at the fourth floor of Tong Tian Tower. 1, 2, 3. She glanced around and realized that there were 10 faceless men in black on the fourth floor who were at peak stage 5 of the Tongshin realm. This time, Jiu deliberately looked at the record on the fourth floor. It was 8 minutes and 11 seconds. Compared to the original record of 1 minute on the third floor, the record on the fourth floor was obviously much longer. However, it was not abnormal. One had to pass through the Tong Tian Tower one level at a time. There was almost no time to rest in between. Even if an ordinary person could pass the first 3 floors, they would have used up more than half of their physical strength and mystic chi. On the fourth floor, one would definitely be in bad shape. According to Jiu's experience in dealing with the faceless men in black on the first 3 floors, she felt that she could still use the Lone Peak 9 Swords on the fourth floor. Ding. Master has executed the Lone Peak 9 Swords, Brilliant Sun in the Sky, first form. Obtained experience, 400 by 999 times. Jiu took out Cold Blade first and slashed at one of the faceless men in black with the Lone Peak 9 Swords. Rumble. However, at this moment, a defensive barrier suddenly drilled out from around the 10 black-clothed, faceless men, shining with a dazzling green light. Ding! Master has taken a look at the superior tier 3 defensive formation, green light barrier, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the superior tier 3 defensive formation, green light barrier. GU's / only cracked the defensive formation set up by the faceless men in black, but did not completely shatter. GU couldn't help being surprised. He had never thought that these black-clothed, faceless people who looked like puppets would actually be able to set up formations. Moreover, it was a superior third-grade defensive formation. From the looks of it, it wasn't strange that the fourth floor's record was so different from the third floor's record. However, if it was only a superior grade 3 defensive formation, it would not be able to stop him. Jiu smirked at the sight of the black-clothed, faceless men charging at him. He slowly raised Cold Blade. Ding! Master has performed the first style of the Lone Peak 9 Swords, Brilliant Sun in the Sky. Experience gained, 400 by 999 times. With another slash, Jiu completely shattered the green light barrier in front of her. Then, facing the 10 faceless men in black, he put away the Cold Blade in his hand and took out the medium-grade 3 Crimson Saber from his storage ring. Ding! Master has performed Zephyr Blade Technique. Zephyr Blade Technique, experience gained, 20*999x. Ding! Master has activated 20% of the half-step blade intent. 20% of the half-step blade intent. Experience gained, 20*999x. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The inferior yellow rank Saber Mystic Skill Zephyr Blade Technique has successfully broken through to initial success stage. The slash did not cause much damage to the black-clothed, faceless men in black. However, Jiu only wanted to control the time required to break the record, and, at the same time, increase the level of his Saber Mystic Skill and half-step blade intent. The original record was 8 minutes, but Jiyu planned to break the record at around 8 minutes. If he used the superior mystic rank lone peak 9 swords, he would only need 3 to 5 minutes to break the record. Chapter 361. Ding. Master has used Zephyr Blade Technique. Zephyr Blade Technique obtained experience points. 20 by 999 times. Ding. Master has activated 20% of the half-step blade intent. 20% of the half-step blade intent obtained experience points. 20 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Lower yellow rank Zephyr Blade Technique has successfully broken through to the Mastery Realm. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Lower yellow rank Zephyr Blade Technique has successfully broken through to the Perfection Realm. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Lower yellow rank Zephyr Blade Technique has successfully broken through to the Peak of Perfection Realm. Ding. It has been detected that the Zephyr Blade Technique has reached the Perfection stage, automatically upgraded to the medium yellow rank Zephyr Blade Technique. After spending about 7 minutes, Jiyu had used such a low-level blade technique and half-step blade intent to kill 8 of the black-clothed faceless men. At this time, there were only 2 black-clothed faceless men left on the 4th floor. Then, Jiyu's weapon changed back to the cold blade. He did not have much time left, and now he had to use the lone peak 9 swords to quickly end these 2 black-clothed faceless men. Ding. Master has used the lone peak 9 swords, Brilliant Sun in the Sky, first style, obtained experience points, 400 by 999 times. Ding. Master has activated 70% of the Sword Dao True Meaning. 70% of the Sword Dao True Meaning obtained experience points, 700 by 999 times. In the end, the time on the 4th floor stopped at 8 minutes and 1 second. The record on the 4th floor was also broken at this moment. At the same time, outside Tong Tian Tower, the familiar sound of the bell came from the 4th floor. At this time, there were already a few hundred people gathered here. Most of them were just ordinary disciples, and a few of them were deacons. In addition, there were more than 20 protectors, which was about half of the total number of protectors. There were even 3 elders present, including Elder Zhuang from the Bounty Hall. The other 2 were the elders in charge of Tong Tian Tower and the Gravity Training Ground. These protectors and elders were regretful that they could not witness the moment when Jiyu continuously broke the record yesterday. And today, when they heard that Jiyu was going to challenge the Tong Tian Tower, they immediately rushed over. Hearing the bell on the 4th floor, almost everyone's blood boiled. It was as if they were the ones who broke the Tong Tian Tower's record. In fact, this was mainly due to the uniqueness of the evolving temple. Under the influence of the green crystal, they would not do anything harmful to the Azure Water Subhall or the evolving temple. Because of this, they worshipped the strong even more. The record for the 4th level has been broken as well. Protector G is truly worthy of being the number 1 Heaven's Chosen. However, the new record is 8 minutes and 1 second, which is only 10 seconds faster than the original record. It seems that breaking the record on the 4th floor is Guardian G's limit for the time being. It's impossible for him to break the record on the 5th floor. Even so, it's still terrifying enough. Protector G is the first in history to set a new record for the first 4 levels. Everyone was discussing excitedly. The 3 elders were no exception, but they were communicating with each other through their minds. Based on the current situation, Jiyu, that little brat, could be considered the strongest in our Azure Water Branch Hall. The Tong Tian Tower, elders said. Relative strength referred to the strength when fighting against someone of the same cultivation level. In the Azure Water Branch Hall, there were naturally people who were stronger than Jiyu, but it was not certain if they were to compare relative strength. Jiyu was able to break the record for the first 4 levels of the Tong Tian Tower, which was enough to prove everything. I remember that his performance in the gravity room was also very outstanding. He is almost a perfect genius. The gravity field elder looked at Elder Zhuang and continued, "As expected, your eyes were right. No wonder you didn't hesitate to demote Lin Yi and let Ji Yu become a protector." Of course. Elder Zhuang stroked his beard and smiled. Not to mention relative strength. Ji Yu's absolute strength could be ranked in the top 10 of our Azure Water Branch Hall. Even I don't have the confidence to win against him. Chapter 362. When everyone thought that Ji Yu was about to come out, Ji Yu had already entered the 5th floor. This time, there were 15 faceless men in black. As usual, they were all at peak LV5 Tongxian realm. He checked the original record, 32 minutes, 38 seconds. Just as he was about to use the basic saber technique and incomplete saber intent to kill time like he did on the previous floor, a system notification sounded in his mind. Ding! Master has seen the superior 3rd grade offensive formation, triple ultimate slaughter formation, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the superior tier 3 offensive formation, Xiao Shazhan. With his experience on the 4th floor, Ji Yu is not surprised at all. A pile of knowledge about the 3 ultimate killing formation instantly appeared in his mind. Xiao Shazhan was closely related to the inferior tier 3 offensive formation, Xiao Shazhan, when he was still in Chaoyang Ancient City. Simply put, the 3 absolutes desolate killing formation was an advanced version of the desolate killing formation. It was of a higher grade than Xiao Shazhan, and so was its power. Not only that, Ji Yu also learned how to break the formation of Xiao Shazhan. Similar to the desolation killing formation and other formations, the way to break the 3 absolutes desolation killing formation was to destroy the formation core. Most importantly, he knew where the formation core of Xiao Shazhan was. Ji Yu moved to the formation core, pulled out his scarlet saber, and slashed. Ding! Master has used Scorching Cloud Saber Technique. Scorching Cloud Saber Technique experience gained. 50 by 999 times. Ding! Master has activated 20% of incomplete saber intent. 20% of incomplete saber intent experience gained. 20 by 999 times. Crack! The sound of glass shattering rang out, and the entire 3 absolutes killing formation also dissipated. Ding! Master has deciphered the 3 deadly killing formation. Formation attainment experience gained. 1,000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You've successfully broken through to become an intermediate 3rd stage Array Master. After breaking the array, Ji Yu continues to waste time like she did on the previous floor. Ding! Master has performed Ardent Cloud Saber Technique. Ardent Cloud Saber Technique experience gained. 50 by 999 times. Ding! Master has activated 20% of half-step blade intent. Experience gained. 20 asterisk 999x. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The medium yellow rank Ardent Cloud Saber Technique has successfully broken through to the peak of perfection stage. Ding! It has been detected that the Ardent Cloud Saber Technique has reached perfection and has been automatically upgraded to the superior yellow rank Saber Technique, Ardent Star Saber Technique. Ding! Congratulations, Master, for successfully breaking through to 50% half-step saber intent. After slowly grinding away at the 15 black-clad, faceless men, Xiao Chun made great breakthroughs in both his saber technique and his half-step saber intent. Ji Yu controlled the time, slightly, and killed the last remaining black-clothed, faceless man around 30 minutes later. The bell for breaking the record on the 5th floor also rang out. Hearing the sound of the bell, everyone immediately perked up. He broke it. He broke it again. He broke the record on the 5th floor too. F***CK. I thought that breaking the record on the 4th floor was his limit. I didn't expect him to break the record on the 5th floor too. Guardian G, this is not a human. This is simply a monster. While the surrounding people were shocked, the Tong Tian Tower elder frowned slightly. Why do I feel that this little guy is deliberately controlling the time to break the record? The Tong Tian Tower elder said. Hearing the Tong Tian Tower elder's words, Elder Zhuang and the gravity field elder quickly understood. It seems that it is very possible. The original record on the 4th floor was 8 minutes 11 seconds. He controlled the time to break the record at 8 minutes 1 second. The original record on the 5th floor was 32 minutes 38 seconds. He controlled the time to break the record at 30 minutes 5 seconds. The gravity field elder looked in the direction of the 5th floor of Tong Tian Tower, his eyes shining slightly. This kid is really something. He's the first one who can use Tong Tian Tower like this. Elder Zhuang's face was filled with satisfaction. He admired Jiyu more and more. Chapter 363. After successfully breaking the record of the 5th floor, Jiyu felt that he only had about a third of his internal force left. The difficulty of the 6th floor would definitely be much higher than the 5th floor. He didn't think that the internal force left in his body was enough to break the record of the 6th floor. Since he couldn't break the record, there was no need to continue to enter the 6th floor. With this in mind, Jiyu slowly walked to the exit. Before the first wave subsided, another wave rose. With Jiyu's appearance, the surrounding people became restless again. Look, Protector Ji is out. Why isn't Protector Ji continuing to enter the 6th floor? Can't he pass it? Isn't that obvious? Protector Ji was able to break the record of the first 5 floors. It's already terrifying enough. He probably doesn't have much energy left now. Hearing the exclamations, Jiyu's expression was calm. He walked straight to the Tong Tian Tower elder, ready to receive the points this time. Seeing Elder Zhuang and the elder from the gravity training ground standing beside the Tong Tian Tower elder, Jiyu first bowed to the two. In this Kanglan branch hall, he could ignore the protectors and those who were lower than the protector. But in front of the elders, he couldn't do as he pleased. This time it's 29,500 points, all of which have been given to you. After receiving the magnetic card from Jiyu, the Tong Tian Tower elder quickly finished. Jiyu nodded slightly and took back the card. He now had a total of about 40,000 points in the card. He was only 10,000 points away from the 50,000 points needed to challenge the elders. Elder Zhuang happened to be beside him, so Jiyu subconsciously glanced at him. Seeing Jiyu looking at him, Elder Zhuang immediately smiled and said, Jiyu, your performance these 2 days really opened this old man's eyes. He definitely didn't know why Jiyu looked at him like that. Elder is too kind. Jiyu modestly said, this one will leave first. If nothing unexpected happened, these 3 elders would definitely keep chatting with him. He didn't have the leisure to chat, so he simply planned to leave first. All right, you can go back first. Elder Zhuang said goodbye. The other 2 elders didn't say anything. Looking at Jiyu's departing figure, Elder Zhuang couldn't help but stroke his beard. This old man has to tell the palace master about the things that happened in the past 2 days. Hearing Elder Zhuang's words, the Tong Tian Tower elder and the gravity field elder were shocked. Elder Zhuang, could it be that you want him to? The Sky Split Tower elder's complexion gradually became solemn. He communicated with Elder Zhuang through their minds. That's right, Elder Zhuang said without hesitation. This kid is a rare talent. What's wrong with making an exception for him? That is indeed the case. The Sky Split Tower elder pondered for a moment and then slowly nodded. I think so too. The gravity field elder also said, I just don't know if the palace master will agree. In the end, we still need the palace master's permission. I will try my best to convince Lord Temple Master. Besides, Lord Temple Master is also a reasonable person. Elder Zhuang narrowed his eyes. Yes, Lord Temple Master's vision is not worse than ours. She definitely won't let a genius like Jiyu go to waste. The Sky Split Tower elder nodded. Then, the 3 elders dispersed. They still had to take care of their own matters. The rest of the people also slowly left. Chapter 364. After returning to his residence, Ji took a pill and recovered to his peak state. In the afternoon, he went to Tong Tian Tower again. He moved the first, fourth, and fifth floor records forward and broke them again. This time, he obtained another 29,500 points. Adding his original points, he now has a total of nearly 70,000 points. In other words, he can now challenge Elder Zhuang for the Bounty Elder position. Tong Tian Tower's Elder was now 100% sure that this little guy deliberately controlled the time to break the record this morning. In other words, the current records were far from Jiyu's limit. Tong Tian Tower's Elder's heart was filled with emotions. He had been in charge of Tong Tian Tower for so many years. This was a Tong Tian Tower that countless people yearned for and feared. But in Jiyu's eyes, it seemed to be a shortcut to obtaining points. In fact, Tong Tian Tower's Elder was right. Jiyu indeed treated Tong Tian Tower as a point grinding machine. Simply put, it was an ATM. As for the others, they were already shocked to the point that they couldn't be any more shocked. Just as Jiyu was about to leave, Tong Tian Tower's Elder suddenly called out to him. "Wait a moment, Jiyu." Tong Tian Tower's Elder said, "Elder Zhuang asked me to tell you that he has something to discuss with you. He wants you to go over." "Okay," Jiyu replied. He was curious about what Elder Zhuang wanted, so he immediately went to the bounty hall. And it just so happened that he also had something to discuss with Elder Zhuang. Ding. Host has taken a step. Earth rank, mid-level lightning flash experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has taken a step. Earth rank, mid-level lightning flash experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, host. Earth rank mid-level lightning flash has successfully broken through to the mastery realm. Arriving at the bounty hall, everyone was in awe when they saw Jiyu. In the past 2 days, Jiyu's deeds in Tong Tian Tower had spread throughout the entire Azure Water Hall. There was no one who didn't know about it. "Jiyu, you're here." Seeing Jiyu walk in, Elder Zhuang immediately greeted her. "Elder Zhuang, why are you looking for me?" Jiyu said, "I happen to have something to talk to you about, Elder Zhuang, but please tell me first." He planned to listen to what Elder Zhuang had to say before he started talking about his own business. The so-called official business was to challenge Elder Zhuang for the position of the Bounty Elder. "Come with me for a moment," Elder Zhuang said, because there were some things that couldn't be said in such a crowded place. All right. Without any hesitation, Jiyu walked over with Elder Zhuang. After a while, "It's like this. After you left Tong Tian Tower this morning, this old man specially went to see Lord Temple Master." Elder Zhuang only began to speak when they arrived at an empty room. "Palace Master." Ji was slightly taken aback. This should be referring to the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. What did Elder Zhuang go to see the Azure Water Branch Hall Master have to do with him? "Yes, Lord Temple Master," Elder Zhuang said. "This old man told Lord Temple Master about your matter and asked him to allow you to obtain the inheritance." Inheritance? However, Ji didn't say anything and just nodded slowly. But Lord Temple Master said that he needs to see you first before making a decision. Because under normal circumstances, only the Vice Hall Master or Hall Master is qualified to obtain the inheritance. This time, this old man proposed to Lord Temple Master to make an exception and allow you to obtain the inheritance in advance. So the process will be more complicated. Then are you willing to go to Lord Temple Master with me now? Elder Zhuang said. Yes. Jiyu hesitated for a moment before she said. Although this so-called inheritance was not clear whether it was good or bad for him, but if he refused, it would easily arouse suspicion. He could only take one step at a time. At least before he achieved his goal, he couldn't make any mistakes. All right, this old man will take you to see Lord Temple Master now. Elder Zhuang said cheerfully. As long as Jiyu accepted, Lord Temple Master would not find it difficult to handle. Chapter 365. After all, a genius like Jiyu is hard to come by in 1,000 years. The Temple Master would most likely approve of it. Elder Zhuang thought to himself as he brought Jiyu to the temple master. Halfway through the journey, Jiyu looked at Elder Zhuang's back with a complicated look in her eyes. Regardless of whether the inheritance was good or bad for him, Elder Zhuang must have done it out of goodwill. His goal in the Kingland branch hall had always been to take over Elder Zhuang's position. However, the complicated look in Jiyu's eyes soon disappeared. This was something that he had to do. He could not be swayed by someone else's kind gesture. As he walked, Elder Zhuang suddenly stopped and muttered to himself, the temple master is not here." Elder Zhuang then changed his direction and continued walking. Jiyu remained silent and only glanced at the magnificent building not far away. After a few minutes, Elder Zhuang brought Jiyu to a dense forest. This was a secluded forest, and the air was refreshing. Compared to the other places in the Kanglan Branch Hall, this forest was like a completely different world. Keep walking forward and you will see a courtyard. The temple master is in the courtyard. I won't go with you. At this moment, Elder Zhuang slowly stopped in his tracks and said, "I understand." After that, Jiyu walked into the depths of the forest alone. Not long after, he saw a courtyard full of exotic flowers and plants. A burst of fragrance from the flowers and plants made him feel refreshed. "Are you that Jiyu?" Suddenly, an enchanting voice came from the courtyard. "That's right, it's me." Jiyu's eyes flashed slightly as she replied. The owner of the voice must be the temple master of the Kanglan Branch Hall. "Come in." As the voice fell, the door of the courtyard slowly opened. However, the person did not appear. Jiyu did not say anything and walked in calmly. Apart from the rare and exotic flowers and plants, the entire courtyard was decorated in a plain and unadorned manner. The wooden house, in particular, looked ordinary and simple. Jiyu couldn't believe that a hall master would live in such an ordinary place. Then he walked into the wooden house. Everything in the house was still as plain as ever. Of course, the woman before him was an exception. The woman was dressed in black. Her black hair was as smooth as a waterfall, and her face was breathtakingly beautiful. She sat quietly on the wooden chair. With just one look, Jiyu could tell that this woman's cultivation was unfathomable. He could not see through it at all. In other words, this woman's cultivation was far above his. This woman before his eyes was 100% the Azure Water Branch Hall's hallmaster. But for some reason, a piece of white gauze covered the woman's eyes. When Jiyu's attention was focused on the white gauze, the system notification sounded. Ding! The host has discovered the blindness disease, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully discovering the method to cure the blindness disease. Hearing these two sounds, Jiyu was slightly taken aback. So this hall master was blind. No wonder she had to cover her eyes with white gauze. But when he received the additional information in his mind, he was even more stunned. The information was related to the hall master's blindness. In the information, the hall master's eyes were filled with lime, causing her to lose her sight. The treatment for such a problem was very simple. She only needed to use a rare spirit herb and drip its juice in her eyes to recover. Although it was rare, it was easy for a faction like the Azure Water Branch Hall to obtain it. What made Jiyu surprised was that this hall master did not seem to care about it at all when this blindness disease was so easy to cure. "You can already tell that I'm blind?" At this moment, the woman suddenly asked. Her charming voice made Jiyu immediately return to his senses. Yes. He couldn't help but think that this hall master was not simple. How could she know when she could not see? "Don't be surprised. My soul perception is special, just like yours," the woman said expressionlessly. Chapter 366. Hearing this, Jiyu's eyes trembled. Was I discovered? The reason why the other party had said those words was very likely because she had seen that his soul was not under the control of the green crystal. Jiyu looked calm on the surface, but he was actually very anxious. If he was really discovered, then all his efforts would be for naught. "Let's get down to business," the woman suddenly said. "Okay, Although the woman's words surprised Ji again, he tried his best to hide his emotions. He was slightly relieved. It seemed that the other party didn't find out about him. About the inheritance, I'll tell you about it first. The woman slowly said, anyone who accepts the inheritance must go through the Home Master's permission. Only the Home Master can activate the inheritance. After successfully obtaining the inheritance, you will truly become a part of the Evolution Temple. In other words, other than the Home Master and the Vice Home Master, no one in the Kangland Branch Hall can be considered a part of the Evolution Temple. You can receive soul empowerment and cultivation empowerment. Do you understand? If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask me. After hearing the woman's words, Ji immediately nodded. I understand. Then, with the talent and strength you have displayed, I, the 155th Hall Master of the Kangland Branch Hall, Mu Sun, allow you to accept the inheritance as an exception. Saying that, the woman suddenly stood up. Her slender hand gently rested on Ji's shoulder. Just as Ji reacted, the scene in front of him changed drastically. Ding! The host has taken a look at this superior 4th grade teleportation array. 999 times comprehension ability has been triggered. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have successfully comprehended the superior 4th grade teleportation array. It wasn't until the system's voice sounded that Ji regained his senses and realized that he and Home Master Mu Sun had already appeared in the altar. At the same time, he also realized that it was Mu Sun who activated the teleportation array and teleported him to the altar in the blink of an eye. At this moment, Mu Sun's hand reached towards the green crystal. It was as if she was injecting a colorless and invisible mysterious energy. After a short while, I've already injected the power of inheritance into the evolution crystal. Now, place your hand on the evolution crystal. You'll need 2 minutes. The evolution crystal Mu Sun was talking about was naturally the cyan crystal. Without hesitation, Ji placed her hand on the evolution crystal. Ding! The host's soul has been invaded. Soul power experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! The host's soul has been invaded. Soul power experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Just as Mu Sun had said, the evolution crystal was indeed giving him soul empowerment. However, the evolution crystal had blocked Ji's soul. Now, Ji somewhat understood the meaning of this inheritance. He should have further control over the person who accepted the inheritance before he could truly become a member of the evolving temple and receive the cultivation boost. The last time he joined the Azure Water Branch Hall, he only needed to touch the evolution crystal for a few seconds. This time, he needed to touch it for 2 minutes. Unfortunately, no matter how long he touched it, the evolution crystal could not affect Ji's soul. At the same time, Mu Sun didn't react at all, nor did her expression change. It seemed like a minute had passed. Just then, Ji suddenly felt another type of energy entering her body from the top of her head. Ding! The host has received cultivation boost. Martial cultivation experience gained. 50,000 asterisk 999 times. Ding! The host has received cultivation boost. Martial cultivation experience gained. 50,000 asterisk 999 times. Ding! Congratulations to the host. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to peak stage 8 of the Tongxian realm. The continuous system notifications bombarded Ji's mind. This cultivation boost lasted for a full minute before it ended. Naturally, her cultivation realm improved by leaps and bounds. She directly jumped from peak stage 6 of the Tongxian realm to peak stage 8 of the Tongxian realm. This made Ji a little confused. This cultivation boost was too terrifying. She jumped more than 10 small realms in an instant. Chapter 367. In that instant, an extremely powerful aura burst out from Ji's body. It swept through the entire altar, and no one knew how far it would spread. Those who were not far away from the altar could feel this extremely powerful aura, and they all looked in the direction of the altar. This? Someone is accepting the power of inheritance? It can't be, right? I haven't heard of anyone challenging the Vice Palace Master and the Palace Master recently. This aura is definitely from a Tongshin realm expert, and the level is not low. No matter what, let's go and take a look. In an instant, a group of people rushed toward the altar from all directions. As expected, your soul is very special too. At that moment, Mu-sun opened her mouth. Hearing this sentence again, Ji-yu tried to hide it and moved her hand away from the evolution crystal as if nothing had happened, as if she had not heard anything. You don't have to hide it. From the moment you entered the room, I could see that you were not affected by the evolution crystal. Mu-sun said directly, "What do you want?" Since she had been completely seen through, Ji-yu asked directly. There was no fear or panic on his face as he looked at Mu-sun calmly. Although Palace Master Mu-sun was very strong, his cultivation had broken through to peak stage 8 of the Tongshin realm, and he was only one step away from stage 9. Coupled with his Earth Intermediate Stage movement technique, he might be able to escape unscathed. Therefore, there was no need for him to panic. The calmer he was, the better. The only regretful thing was that his efforts to sneak in had been wasted. He would have to find another way in the future. I don't want to do anything, Mu-sun said softly. You know that I am not controlled by the evolution crystal, but you still want me to accept the inheritance? Ji-yu asked. I want you to accept the inheritance because I want to confirm something, Mu-sun said calmly. Mu-sun said indifferently, I've already confirmed that you won't be controlled by the evolution crystal at all. It's because I can feel that the cultivation inheritance that the evolution crystal gave you is less than 10% compared to before. This means that you haven't received soul empowerment at all, so your affinity with the cultivation inheritance in the evolution crystal is very poor. But what I'm most curious about is how you were able to break through so many realms when you only received less than 10% of the inheritance. Ji did not expect the other party to say so much. Through his spiritual perception, he could sense that many people were rushing over. He had to quickly use his movement technique to leave this place. Otherwise, when he was surrounded by a group of experts, it would be difficult for him to escape. Just as Ji was about to use the Earth-ranked mid-level movement technique Lightning Flash to leave this place, she felt a touch on her shoulder. Ding! Host has taken a look at the superior grade 4 teleportation formation. Experience points gained, 1 by 999 times. The next moment, he returned to Mu-sun's room. Clearly, Mu-sun had activated the teleportation formation again. There were too many people just now. Let's come here and talk slowly. As she spoke, Mu-sun returned to her original wooden chair. Ji was getting more and more confused about what the other party was up to. But for now, the other party had not done anything bad to him, so he decided to wait and see. What else do you want to say? Ji asked calmly. What I want to say is that I am the same as you. I am not controlled by the evolution crystal. Mu-sun said calmly. What? Mu-sun's words were shocking. Ji almost blurted it out. There was actually a second person in this Azure Waterhall who was not affected by the evolution crystal. Most importantly, the other party was a hall master and had a supreme position in the entire Azure Waterhall. This was really hard for Ji to believe. Didn't I say it before? My soul is as special as yours. Mu-sun's expression remained calm. Do you think I will believe you? Ji was still skeptical. He was already prepared to use his movement technique to leave this place at any time. If you're not willing to believe me, you can leave this place at any time. I will not stop you. Mu-sun said calmly. If you are willing to believe me, then listen to me continue. Chapter 368. All right, I believe you. Ji remained silent for a while before replying. If she wanted to do something to him, she wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to him. Of course, he wouldn't completely trust her and would always be on guard against her actions. You're willing to believe me because you still have things to do here, right? Mu-sun said. Ji didn't know if he should reply. This woman was able to guess that he had other intentions. which was enough to show how terrifying her insight was. Since she couldn't see with her eyes, it meant that she was relying on her soul perception. Ji felt that her soul was much stronger than his, so it was very likely that she wasn't affected by the evolution crystal. I won't interfere with what you want to do, but you have to promise me one thing, Musun said. When you reach Mastery Level 9 of the Tongshin realm, you can challenge me for the position of Palace Master, regardless of whether you win or lose. Of course, it would be best if you can defeat me. I have my own things to do. After hearing what she said, Ji felt that something was wrong. She wanted him to win, and if he really won, according to the rules of the Kanglan Branch Palace, he would have to take over the position of Palace Master. Thinking of this, Ji felt that this woman was tricking him. It was as if she was throwing the position of Palace Master to him and then running away. Can you change your condition? Ji's mouth twitched. For example, I can help you heal your eyes? No need. I've been like this for more than 10 years. Musun's hand gently touched the white gauze in front of her eyes. If I wanted to heal this, I would have done it long ago. I've been keeping it to remember the past. Ji fell silent. Also, now that you've obtained the inheritance, you're a candidate for the position of Vice Palace Master or Palace Master. Musun said, you can only challenge the position of Vice Palace Master or Palace Master. You don't need to spend points to challenge me, but if you want to challenge the other 3 Vice Palace Masters, you need to spend points. You could decide for yourself. You mean that from now on, I can't challenge anyone below the rank of Vice Palace Master? Ji couldn't help but frown. Musun nodded slightly. To be precise, it was from the moment you received the inheritance. After hearing this, Ji was speechless for a moment. Didn't this mean that if he wanted to change the bounty, he could only become a Vice Hall Master or Hall Master? This was because the bounty elder could no longer challenge him. If he had known earlier, he would not have agreed to accept the inheritance in the first place. Although he had made quite a few breakthroughs in his cultivation, he was still a little further away from achieving his goal. I seem to understand. You deliberately joined the Azure Water Branch Hall because of a certain elder? Musun asked with interest. Through Ji's words and actions just now, her sharp senses had detected something. My target can be that elder, or it can be you, Ji said. According to the current situation, he could only challenge the Vice Hall Master or the Hall Master at the same time before he could privately change the bounty list. If he had to choose, he would definitely choose the supreme position of Palace Master. Can I interpret this as you expressing your love for me? Musun's lips curled up slightly as she teased. Of course not. Ji's expression was calm, but in fact, he was a little embarrassed. The previous sentence was a little misleading. All right, I won't joke around anymore. Musun's expression returned to normal. Everything will be as usual in the future. I won't hinder you, as long as you fulfill the promise just now. Chapter 369. I have a question. Before leaving, Ji asked again, why do you insist that I challenge you? Can't the 3 Deputy Hall Masters do the job instead? Although he had never seen the Deputy Hall Masters of the Azure Water Branch Hall, he knew that there were 3 of them. Compared to him, it was obvious that the 3 Deputy Hall Masters were more suitable to be the new Hall Master. No, they can't. Musun slowly shook her head and said, even if I only use 50% of my strength, they can't win against me. Moreover, no one is allowed to lose on purpose in this kind of competition. In my opinion, the only one with a chance is you. I'm honored that you believe in me so much, Ji said with a fake smile. He was now at the peak of Mystic Enlightenment Stage 8, so he could barely see that Musun's cultivation was at the peak of Mystic Enlightenment Stage 9. At this moment, Ji had already left the dense forest. The news of him accepting the power of inheritance was spread by someone, and the passers-by were all looking at him while discussing this matter. I heard that Guardian Ji received the power of inheritance from the evolution crystal. Is this true? I haven't heard of anyone succeeding in challenging the Deputy Hall Masters recently, but I did feel that someone was accepting the inheritance. I'm guessing that the Hall Master made an exception to let Guardian G accept the inheritance in advance. That's right. In the entire Azure Water Branch Hall, only Guardian G is qualified to make the Hall Master make an exception. It should be because of Guardian G's shocking performance in the Tong Tian Tower these 2 days. Hearing these discussions, Gu didn't have much of a reaction. He was thinking about how to use so many points on him. He couldn't challenge the Bounty Elder now, and he didn't need points to challenge Muson. Currently, he had close to 70,000 points, so he had to use them first. First, Gu came to the gravity training ground. Compared to other aspects, his physical body was relatively weaker. Didn't you just receive the inheritance? Why are you here? Seeing Gu, the gravity training ground elder couldn't help but ask. Normally, people who had received the power of inheritance would need to spend a few days to digest the soul inheritance and cultivation inheritance. Gu seemed to have understood something from the other party's words. She had an idea and said, I want to finish absorbing the power of inheritance in the gravity room. The gravity field elder was stunned. I see. Then you can go in. However, he quickly came back to his senses and said, although what Gu said made sense, and it was easier for martial cultivators to break through their limits under the pressure of gravity. This was the first time he had seen someone come to the gravity room right after receiving the power of inheritance. After completing the procedures, Gu entered a gravity room. Double, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. The moment they entered the gravity chamber, Gu immediately increased the gravity to 5 times. Ding. Host is suppressed by 5 times the gravity. Bronze level physical body attribute EXP gained. 5*999x. Ding. The host is suppressed by 5 times of gravity. Experience gained from silver level willpower. 5 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Bronze level physical body attribute has successfully broken through to perfection. Ding. It has been detected that bronze level physical body attribute has reached perfection, automatically upgraded to silver level physical body attribute. After a period of time, Gu's physical body attribute had advanced to silver level. Now, facing 5 times the gravity, he didn't feel much pressure anymore. Without the slightest hesitation, he flipped his hand and increased the gravitational force to 6 times the normal. Chapter 370. Next. 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, 10 times. Gu continued to increase the gravitational force to 10 times, and finally felt an extremely strong sense of oppression. His breathing rate was disrupted, and his entire body could feel the pain of 10 times the gravity. Ding! Host has been suppressed by 10 times the gravity. Silver level physical body gained experience. 10 by 100 times. Ding! Host has been suppressed by 10 times the gravity. Silver level willpower gained experience. 10 by 100 times. Ding! Host has been injured. Yellow level middle class defensive profound skill rock earth armor gained experience. 10 by 100 times. Ding! Congratulations, host. Silver level physical body has successfully broken through to the initial success realm. Ding! Congratulations, host. Silver level willpower has successfully broken through to the initial success realm. Ding! Congratulations, host. Yellow level middle class defensive profound skill rock earth armor has successfully broken through to the great perfection realm. Ding! Detected that rock earth armor has reached perfection, automatically upgraded to yellow level upper class defensive profound skill rock mountain armor. After more than an hour, Gu had made breakthroughs in all aspects. As for why the damage to his body was not increased by the profound level upper class glaze shield, but the yellow level middle class rock earth armor, that was because the glaze shield was not a profound skill that came with the system. At this time, Gu suddenly remembered that he had not upgraded the glaze shield's realm. But now is not the time. if he used a defensive profound skill to resist the gravity in the gravity room. Although he could last longer, the strengthening effect on his body would be much smaller. So there was no point in doing so. Until now, Jiyu had already spent about 1,000 points in the gravity room. After another half a day, Jiyu was still in the gravity room with 10 times the gravity. Ding! Congratulations, host. Silver level physical body has successfully broken through to the large success realm. Ding! Congratulations, host. Silver level willpower has successfully broken through to the large success realm. Ding! Congratulations, host. Yellow level upper class defensive profound skill, Rock Mountain Armor, has successfully broken through to the perfection realm. After half a day, he had made breakthroughs in all aspects. It should be nighttime now, Jiyu thought to herself. The gravity room was completely sealed off. He couldn't see what was happening outside, but he could tell based on the time. From the beginning until now, he had already spent about 8,000 points. Moreover, it was already very late. It was time to go back. Thinking of this, Jiyu stood up and left the gravity room. Just as he had thought, the sky outside was indeed dark. There are not many people left in the gravity training ground. Jiyu held the identity card in her hand as she headed to the elder of the gravity field. She had to record when she left. However, when he arrived, he was surprised to find the gravity field elder drinking with someone. And this person was someone he knew. It was the elder Zhao who had brought him here with Yang Qingxue. Why is this guy here? However, Jiyu's expression didn't change at all. He walked over and handed his identity card to the gravity field elder. Protector Ji, you seem to be doing quite well, Elder Zhao said when he saw Jiyu. His tone was very calm and didn't have the aggressive feeling from before. After all, Jiyu was now a member of the Azure Water Branch Hall, just like him. In his eyes, she was no longer an enemy. Moreover, Jiyu had been in the limelight for the past 2 days. Even if he wanted to, he didn't dare to offend her. Same here, Jiyu casually said. Do you want to drink some wine together? Elder Zhao said. This is a good wine that I personally brewed. Moreover, it will help raise your cultivation. Help raise your cultivation? This piqued Jiyu's interest. He was rather curious about how drinking wine would help raise his cultivation. Then I will have to trouble Elder Zhao. Ji didn't stand on ceremony and sat down beside him. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. As he spoke, Elder Zhao placed a copper cup on Jiyu's table. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.